Good morning, YouTube and Twitter family. Welcome to this week's episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and I have put some of gaming's biggest topics together to keep you entertained for the next 2+ hours. In order to do that, I needed a panel with enough gaming experience to be able to break down everything we're going to discuss, and I did just that. First up, we have one of the newest official panel members of Breakfast with Boom. He's an 80s pop culture connoisseur, someone who can appreciate where the industry is going and never feels entitled, leader of the secret organization known as the Sesh Empire, an official new panel member of Xbox Nation. Please welcome So Shady.
Hey, thanks, Boom. As always, it is a pleasure to be here. As you brought up, I am a new member on Xbox Nation. It's been an eventful week for me. I've got GRG later on tonight, doing a lot of shows this week. It's exciting times, man. There's a lot of gaming news, so I'm excited about that too, man. We had some wicked reveals yesterday. There's a couple of awesome other trailers coming out, and I don't know, man. There's a lot of buzz around the industry. Let's get her going.
Yeah, there's a lot. I got to tell you, the last couple of weeks have been nothing short of amazing, and we're not even close to E3 yet, which is completely bananas. But let me continue introducing the amazing panel. Next up, we have making his first appearance as a permanent member of Breakfast with Boom. You know him as an Xbox ambassador, content creator extraordinaire, gamer with a big heart for the community, and showrunner of the outstanding YouTube channel that he runs. Please welcome Ambassador Zemi. Welcome, dude.
Thank you so much. And a big thank you to Boom for actually sending me the invite to become an official panel member and coming on the show every single week. So definitely thank you to you. And then we have a ton of different topics, so I'm not even gonna jump into a huge intro or anything like that. But thank you.
Oh, dude, it's an absolute pleasure. You are again. Listen, when I reach out to people, I want folks to be on the show that have a good interaction with the community, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about, right? You want to talk with the other gamers. We're all gamers at heart. And you interact well with the community. You did your charity stream last week. I was able to jump on for a little bit. I was able to donate. A lot of people donated. That was really good. And you actually care about people outside of the buttons and controllers that are in front of us on a regular basis. So I think you're a great addition. So thank you for accepting the invite. And last, in no way least, he's been known to drop a few F-bombs in his career. Part-time stand-up comedian, ex-disc jockey turned podcaster with talent for days, showrunner of the outstanding Gaming After Dark, and community good guy. Please welcome Noof Nukem.
Wow, that was one hell of an intro. Thank you so much, Boom. It's always a pleasure, and it's a blast to be on Breakfast with Boom on Friday mornings. Glad I could be here. Thanks for the invite. And lastly, I just want to say super kudos to So Shady. Welcome to this amazing panel as a full-time member. Shady's a good guy, very good opinionated and knowledgeable guy from the community. Too bad things didn't work out with him and the Game Dosage podcast, but that thing just went off the rails and it just never came back. But Shady's going to be awesome here. I'm glad to see he's found a home on Xbox Nation as well. So let's get this show on the road. It's going to be a good one. And let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I definitely appreciate you being here. I know it's super early in Canada where you guys are, so I know that you had to get up super early, so it is greatly appreciated. You bring a lot to the table, Noof. Love the work that you do, and you're a community icon. You're funny. Sometimes you can be a little nasty, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But you know what? You still care about the community, and at the end of the day, I keep saying it, community is important. We all have a friendship, even though we may never meet in real life. We still have a bond through these shows and through the the interaction with the chat, and that's something I would never want to lose. I'm very proud and honored to be a part of this community, and I know you are as well. So let's get into the topics. Yesterday was a big day for gaming on many fronts. Gearbox Software, as we know, has had a tough couple of years. You look back to PAX East of 2015, where they had their Aliens debut, and that came out, and it just undersold. It was overpromised and underdelivered. Then you look back to when they released my God, I forgot the name of it. It was so terrible. That was that was the character, the hero based game that fell flat. It was a complete bomb. And it's been real tough for Randy Pitchford. Now, I got to be honest with you. I don't know Randy personally, but I had the pleasure of meeting him and got a chance to talk with him for about 10 or 15 minutes during that PAX East. And he is, at his heart, a gamer. He's a gentleman to speak to, and I really appreciate the effort that he puts in on his company. And yesterday, Gearbox, in my opinion, even though they had a few hiccups on stage, and you can tell Randy was pissed. Unfortunately, I think in the future he's going to bring his own gear to run his own trailers and not trust the people at PAX. Unfortunately, they make mistakes, and they made a big one yesterday.
It's gonna be Randy himself running the systems next time. He'll be the man.
It wouldn't be surprised, because he is a perfectionist when it comes to that, and he wants to show off his product the correct way. But you know what? Let's get why beat around the bush? Borderlands 3 finally, for the love of Jehovah, gets revealed, and the trailer just looks absolutely what you would expect in a Borderlands game. It's stylized. It had incredible music, tons of gunplay, new characters, old characters. The goosebumps have goosebumps right now. How excited I am for this game, for this particular game. But I want to start with Noof. Noof, let me ask you something. First of all, are you a Borderlands fan? And what were your takeaways from yesterday's reveal and trailer?
All right, to answer your first question, yes, I am a Borderlands fan. I played the other games. I wouldn't call myself a massive diehard Borderlands fan. There's things I like about the game. There's things I can never really gravitate to and get into. But I do think the series is fantastic. It is the original looter shooter. It's the one that kind of started the ball rolling. Great character design. Love the art style, et cetera, et cetera. As far as the reveal is concerned, it was on point. It looks amazing. The game is, well, more Borderlands, and that is exactly a good thing. Unlike, some of these other videos to the contrary, which I'm sure you'll get into. But yes, I'm a Borderlands fan. I'm excited for, this third game in the franchise. And one thing, this game does that not many else do is it has 4-player co-op. We don't see that in a lot of games, let alone first-person shooters. I'm excited about it. The characters look amazing. You can definitely tell the graphics are better. You got to be an idiot if you don't think they're not better. You just got to look at the environments and stuff. You can see that the polygon counts have jumped up considerably. A lot more detail in the environments, not as it seems to be as open and maybe as barren as they were in the past. I mean, you got guns with legs, the bazillion guns, so to speak.
Crazy, dude. Yes.
The big breasted lady's back in there again, the one that makes all the junk. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff in this game. I'm super excited for it. I'll probably pick it up on day one. They didn't drop a release date, but I'm sure it's not too far out. It looks like it might be fairly finished. I'm sure they've been working on it for a while. So it was a great reveal. On top of the fact that they please fans with the 4K update for the Handsome collection, as well as
free update. That we're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Borderlands One Game of the Year edition getting sort of a remaster. So yeah, if you're a Borderlands fan, it is good times. Let me tell you, kaboom.
Well, listen, before I get to the next panel members, I just have to say my eyeballs just fell out of my head.
Wow.
Biggie 2316 with the absolutely incredible and outrageous gift of $50 super chat. That is probably some of the biggest money that's ever been donated to the show. He says, "Boom, you put out some of the best content on YouTube. So here is thank you." Well, first of all, I cannot thank you enough for that. That kind of generosity is just outstanding. And you know what? It doesn't matter whether it's $1 or $50. The fact that you, first of all, I say this and I do pinch myself, guys. I'm a very humble guy. I think I come off as that when I speak on the radio, and I take nothing for granted. the fact that people actually listen to my shows still to this day blows my mind, and that humbleness that I have is never going to go away, and that kind of generosity is just, my God, dude, is just incredible. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate you being here, and again, that is just incredible. But so Shady, I want to get your opinion on this, because we know that Borderlands 1, the Game of the Year edition, is coming out. And we're going to really get into that in a second. But, Noof made mention of these 4K, the Ultra 4K, downloads coming for free if you own Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Collection, which is, again, giving back to the fans. But Borderlands 3 has been sought after by many gamers within our community. It is considered the OG of looter shooters. It is the originator. You know what? People have copied it, but no one does it like Borderlands. In your opinion, how excited are you, not just for yourself and the gamers, but for Randy Pitchford and Gearbox to finally get that validation that their company can, in fact, make great games?
It's going to be awesome to see. It is, because, like you said, Battleborn fell flat on its face, and I really don't think it was an issue with the game itself. It was the fact that the community literally thought that that was Overwatch ripoff, and the two games can't be any more different. They're not the same type of game, but the comparisons were relentless, and it killed that game. I don't even think people gave it a chance. So that sucked, because the game was obvious that they put a lot of time and effort and resources into Battleborn, and it just did not work out. It was obvious the community was screaming at the top of our lungs for more Borderlands. That is what we wanted, and it's nice to know that one of the companies out here can actually count to 3 when it comes to games that the community demands. Looking at you, Valve. But like, yesterday was big. It was one of those moments where almost you could tell that a gigantic chunk of the community, especially the hardcores, almost all of them, we were all tuned in. We were all waiting. We wanted to see what was going on. It has been a long time since we've had a numbered Borderlands game. The pre-sequel came out, 5 years ago, but a lot of people don't count that. I thought the game was pretty good myself. I liked some of the things that it brought to the table. But it was good. It was good. I'm not 100% with, let's say, Polygon or Kotaku saying that it was unimpressive, but I thought it was weird, and I don't mean because of the technical issues. It was about a 3.5 minute long trailer. The music personally didn't vibe with myself. So there was that. And then I just thought there was no story at all in the trailer. There was no dialogue. No one talked at all. It was just music, and they hit you with a lot of visuals, which looked fantastic. I've been dying to see what they're going to make this new Borderlands look like. Again, I'll reference Crackdown 3 in comparison. I don't think we can call cell shading on the same level. When you look at the characters' faces, they don't have the thick black outlines like a comic book drawing and stuff. Whereas Borderlands 3 is still definitely going with that look. They didn't suddenly turn into a Pixar movie and just, hey, look, we're cartoon colored like Fortnite, if you will. They're still doing the outlines. Yeah, they're still doing like the hand-drawn look, but in a 3D environment. And I think that's awesome. It just looks like a really, really well-drawn comic book that's in 3D that I get to control. And I like that. I thought the floor, like the ground, looked a little bit flat myself, but it always did in Borderlands. But the environments were great. The character models looked fantastic. They were hitting us big time with the nostalgia stick with a lot of those characters from the old games. Little Tina's all grown up now, you know. I thought that was cool. There's even characters from the Telltale game.
Yes, good point, dude. Great
that was my
point.
favorite. That's my favorite Telltale game. That Borderlands Telltale. I was laughing hard numerous times throughout, and I don't think there's anything in the world like laughter, man. It is so good. Find me someone that after a big laugh attack is just like, oh, that sucked. I hate laughing. I hate laughing.
That's great. I love it.
And you can't dial it up. You can't just be like, you know what? I'm going to laugh now. You can't. It's always just on the moment. And when you find it and it happens, it's great. And that game brought it. I like the comedy actually in the Borderlands game from Telltale more than
it is fantastic. The writing is great.
It was really, really good. And I'm excited for the third game. I'd like to know when it comes out. I have a feeling like Noof, it's also coming sooner than later. It looked pretty on the polished level, and they've had a lot of time with this game.
This
lot
is
of
going to
time.
be, in my opinion, this is going to be a fall release, and I think that they have the prowess to run up against the Call of Duties and whatever else is going to be coming out in the fall. It Borderlands, in my opinion, folks, this is just my opinion, is a juggernaut.
It
And
is.
I think that it has the stoutness, if you will, to, like I said, come out in the fall and hold its own.
I do. Like, I think when it launches, we'll see like a 7 to 10 million number with this
Oh,
game
yeah.
really quick. I do. I like, will it outsell Call of Duty? I mean, let's get real here.
I don't think anything really
Nothing
can.
outsells, right? And nothing
Right.
has for so long. I'm not going to say that it will either. But I think it can release around Call of Duty and not just get killed. It won't be cannibalized because of Call of Duty. People will put money aside for Borderlands 3.
Good point.
I do like how it was numbered, especially that it wasn't that mayhem. There was a lot of people worried about like a battle royale or a mobile game, anything but Borderlands 3, right? People were terrified that they were going to whip something like that out on us. Luckily, they didn't. I loved there was a 4K with the texture packs, just basically an X enhancement, if you will.
Yes.
I'm excited for that. Yeah. I hope it's more than just 4K. I hope they bring it more in line with the PC versions of those games, because they were using awesome physics. When you threw a grenade and it blew up, there was particles blowing out of the ground. There was a lot of rag physics with flags and stuff like that in the world. You could throw your gravity grenade by one of them and it would actually suck the flag like off the wall into the gravity. Like, there was just neat physics in the PC version that didn't make it into the Handsome Jack collection on the Xbox One. And that was a big disappointment for me, because I did play a decent amount of the PC version as well back in the 360 era. And it was hard to go back to even the 360 version compared to the PC, because I'm a big physics guy and I love that stuff. So I hope that the enhanced versions bring that aspect in, as well as the higher resolution and the higher textures, which is nice to see as well. Yeah, that's about it, man. I'm excited for the franchise. I'm excited for the new series. I'm really excited to get back into Borderlands 2, because I didn't beat it. I didn't even put that much time into the second game, but I'm going to get back into it now with my boys because they love it as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you're going to have a good time. It's going to be like playing a new game for sure. Real quick, Zemi, before I get to you, Gotham Guy with the outrageous $20 super chat. He says, I didn't mind the hiccups Gearbox had. Overall, I love their show because I never played Borderlands, and this got me excited for Borderlands 3 and the 4K remaster edition. Now, that's how you do a press conference. Yes, well said, Gotham Guy. Indeed, well said. Zemi, the one thing that I love about Randy Pitchford and I love about Gearbox is they are, and I really waited to put this question to you, because you're a very community minded gamer. You put community first, and that's really what I love about what you do for the community, especially as an Xbox ambassador. You put videos out to help people, and we saw a real the real Gearbox and the real Randy Pitchford yesterday come out, and everyone that attended their press conference is getting the Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition, as well as Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Jack, basically the Handsome Jack collection, for free, just for being there. And that's amazing. They announced it. The crowd, of course, went completely buck wild, and for good reason, because we all like free shit. I mean, who's going to lie and say I don't want a free game? But they didn't have to do that. And then on top of that, they're releasing. They tell everyone, if this is another goodwill to the community. If you're a PC owner and you already have Borderlands 1, the new Game of the Year edition is free. And that's crazy. They just, you already have it, so here, just take the upgrade, the new version, and you're good to go. And on top of that, they announced the free texture packs for everyone who already has the Handsome Jack collection on your PS4 or on your Xbox One. Again, goodwill across the board. They knocked it out of the park with the reveal of Borderlands 3, even with the hiccups. What were your takeaways with the very community focused way that they handled this press conference?
I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think that Gearbox definitely appreciates their fans. And this game, from everything that I've seen in the trailer, it's just a whole lot of just fanfare, that they're projecting. So I think it's absolutely amazing. I wish I was at PAX East so I could have gotten some free stuff, you know. But you know, ultimately, I think the trailer was a really good success. I think that they knew what they were setting out to do, and I think that they accomplished it. You know, like So Shady said, they didn't show anything of the story or anything like that. But you know, you have to remember, a lot of people have been waiting for this game pretty much this entire console generation, and I think that their main motive with this trailer was to release it out, show, you know, a little bit of the gameplay, and tell the community what to expect with this game. But more importantly, let them know that it is going to be, you know, coming out. And so, you know, for those reasons, I think the trailer was a huge success. You know, Borderlands has never really been my thing. I played a little bit of the very first one, never played any of the other ones. But with that being said, I don't hate the series. I just, you know, whenever the game first came out, I was just busy playing Fallout and a ton of other games. And so I just never really, you know, jumped into it too much. But with that being said, I might have to buy Borderlands 3 because this game looks absolutely incredible. You know, some things from the trailer that I absolutely loved was how they're keeping it close to the other games. You know, there's a lot of games that come out like Gears of War, Halo, and they're kind of, you know, they're kind of separating from what the game truly was at the very beginning. And it doesn't look like that's going to be an issue for Borderlands 3. It definitely still looks and like a Borderlands game. I also think that, you know, all the characters, you know, making a comeback is going to be a huge thing with the fans. And like So Shady mentioned, even the Telltale characters are actually going to be showing back up in this game, which I think is amazing. I haven't played the Telltale game yet, but I really want to.
Oh, dude, it's absolutely so worth your time. One of Telltale's best titles in their entire catalog. It was amazing.
And another thing as well is, you know, during the trailer, they also mentioned like the ability to visit multiple worlds. And in the trailer, you know, they showed like you know, like the wasteland desert kind of planet. But then they also showed a planet that was a little bit more green and lush with trees. And then they had like a big city that looked like you could go into or you know, and whatnot. You know, that's a big reason why I'm actually really interested in this game, is just being able to travel to the different worlds and not just be stuck in a wasteland the entire time.
Yes, that was huge. I forgot to even mention something like that. The new worlds is big. Like the game, as good as Borderlands was, it needs to evolve. I want to see more of absolutely everything. More armor, more cosmetics, more guns, more visuals on the guns, not just stats. More places to go, more like everything has to get amped. It can't just come out and be a prettier Borderlands 2, I think.
And let me just say that, you know why this Borderlands is going to do really, really well? Because people are actually itching for it now. This hasn't been a franchise that's been done to death. It's actually been quite a long time since
it
Borderlands 2. I mean, yeah, they brought out the remaster, but I mean, that technically doesn't count. It's still the same game at heart. You know what I mean? So that's why, outside of Tales in the Borderlands, we haven't had a new entry into the series. And you know what? And I bet you the stockholders for Gearbox are happy right now because it's almost a guaranteed hit. Whereas Gearbox has struggled with their last few releases over the last couple of years, haven't exactly blown the doors off of the market, you know, in terms of sales figures. Again, that Battleborn game had plenty of potential, but kind of dead on arrival. And they've had a few other flops too. We remember the Alien Colonial Marines game, and there's been a few other hit and misses for that, guys. So I'm pretty sure they're like, yeah, Borderlands 3, this is going to put some money in the coffers, baby.
Yeah, no, what, you know, that's a great point. But also getting back to Zemi's point, the traveling off world is going to be new for the series. So right away, they're already doing something slightly different, but keeping it slightly the same. So they're respecting the fan base, right? And what was the big tagline? Over 1 billion guns. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's
the thing. But like the thing with that though is I think that's a little bit misleading, because I don't think that there's going to be literally 1 million different types of guns. I think they're talking about 1 million guns once you take in, there's going to be different variants of the same gun.
Yeah,
and
I mean, that
all the
levels
usually
stats
is.
and stuff.
of
Like,
each
I mean,
gun and
arguably,
stuff.
Destiny has a billion guns because of the stats. I was never a fan of that marketing by Borderlands either. Like, I want them to really up the visuals on these guns. There was a lot of variety, but I want that to be like tripled or quadrupled so that there's truly a massive visual variety in what we're doing here, as opposed to just my gun's a +3 to headshots and yours is a +2, so they're different. I don't think that's honest, if you will. It's true, but it's misleading. I'm with Zimmy on this.
Yeah, and I mean, and another thing to add is it's great that there are, like 1 million or over 1 million guns, because, with a game like Borderlands, it's a looter shooter. They want loot. And so that's going to give them definitely a bigger reason to keep playing with all of the potential loot that they could get. Really and truly, like, one of like my favorite things that they mentioned during like their press conference yesterday at PAX was the fact that Borderlands 3 was not going to have a battle royale. Like that made me really, really excited, just because I think that so many games are pushing for it just to get people into the door. And I'm starting to think that the whole battle royale genre is getting way too saturated. There's way too many, companies, going for it and everything. And so I'm just super excited to see that Borderlands 3 isn't going to be going that direction. The only real concern I have is, will the publisher 2K push Gearbox into adding a lot of heavy microtransactions? Because I'm fine with DLC. There's DLC in the previous
I don't think any of them they've ever had it though.
But we're in a different day.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Games came out, and so that's really the only thing I'm worried about is heavy microtransactions.
Couldn't you buy those keys, Boom, in 2?
Dude, I if you could, shit, I forgot, because I don't remember. I never spent a dime outside of buying the game and the DLC.
Me neither. I had so many keys. I don't know where they were coming from, but like when I loaded up the pre-sequel, for example, because I played the other games, it was like, here's 100 keys.
Yes.
It was outrageous amount of loot. So I don't know why anyone would spend money if they had to. I don't think you ever have to, but I could see there being some form of microtransaction. I just hope it's not invasive and everything that they're selling can be earned reasonably quick.
I mean, because it looks like they're bringing back a lot of the old characters, and maybe some of those old characters are going to be playable, but maybe they're only going to be playable if you pay $20. That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I see your point, and that would be what Fortnite does. That's what PUBG did with the stupid Harley Quinn and Joker skins, and we've seen so many other do it. The one thing about Borderlands that is what separates Borderlands from all the other games is the fact that there are a lot of guns. It's multiplayer focused, and it's 4-player co-op, right? It's gonna be the Borderlands you know and love. Will there be microtransactions? Look, here's the thing: if there are, some people get really bent out of shape about microtransactions being in the game, and I say that, well, if you're not going to buy, then why do you care? I understand that for some people, it tarnishes the reputation of a game, but at the same time, these companies do spend a lot of money making these games, and if you want different skins for your main character, which you're not going to see, by the way, because you're playing in first person, so I don't see what the big deal is. Let them do it. If you don't have to buy it, if they're not forcing you to buy skin A, B, C, and D, then why do you give a shit?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want games to be $70 and $80? Because I certainly do not. And I'm okay with microtransactions as long as they're done in a fair way. Listen, I said this from the beginning. If there was a Titanfall skin for Anthem, I would buy it even if it cost me $10. I would be okay with it because I'm such a big Titanfall fan. If you are a fan of some of the older characters and you want to use them, and listen, I'm sure that there's going to be a way to unlock them just by playing the game. But if you're one of those people that are impatient and want to play as character whoever, then you'll spend the $5 or $10. I have zero problems with that. Again, as long as it's done in a fair way.
That's the important part. It needs to be. It needs to be fair. Like right now, Anthem is one of the first games that I feel is actually really, really pushing you to spend money if you want to partake in its cosmetic game. And it's a low cosmetic game right now. But if you play Anthem a lot and you're using all 4 javelins and you would like to be buying armor for these guys, you almost have to spend real money because the game doesn't give you coin. It just doesn't. Once you've beaten the campaign and done the challenges that are there, they're done. And you're now, up to your community week payout and a little bit you can do in the daily, which isn't much. And then to boot, they only offer some of these, that's very Canadian of me. They only offer some of these cosmetics for like a timed spot. So it rotates in. It's available for 4 days. It costs 61,000 coin.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then once that time is over, it's out. And it might not be back in rotation again for 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, 2 weeks. You have no idea. So the pressure to have it right now is more so than it would be if it was always for sale. And because it's expensive and it's hard to get coin, the pressure to actually spend real world money, I find in Anthem is more so than most other games that I've ever come across. And I'm not a fan of it at all, man. I don't like that. I think DLC like that, microtransactions should be 100% optional. That is it. I just don't want to play at all. I want the skin now. That is all it should be for. Instead, it feels like I have to grind for 20 hours or spend $10. I mean, my God, 20 hours versus $10. The $10 is the better route, unless you love playing the game. And those aren't grinding hours. Those are enjoyment, but they need to be fair. You need to be able to earn what you can buy in a very reasonable time and use these microtransactions as just pure option for people with more money than brains. I'll say that's not very polite of me, but they just don't care. It should be for that, not pressure. And I feel some of these games are starting to get a little bit too pressury. I don't like it.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, listen, this has been an amazing topic. Like I said, 30 minutes I expected, simply because I wanted to give Randy Pitchford and the amazing staff at Gearbox the spotlight that they deserve. We've all been waiting for Borderlands 3. It was announced we're getting Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition, and it's $30, and it comes out OPS, by the way, April 3rd, and I'll be jumping in on that. I will play Borderlands 1. I will then replay Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Jack. I'll replay the Handsome Jack collection because, again, with all the new textures and stuff, I want to see that. But let's move on to the next topic. And this is a bit of a head scratcher. I had to confirm whether or not these images were real and weren't doctored in any way. And a guy on Twitter named Coffee, and you can find him at Press Start Coffee, leaked actual pictures of what appears to be the DualShock PS5 controller with the patented LCD screen on the front of it. There were 4 pictures. I sent them to everyone in the DM. If you're looking for his tweet, it's still up. It was not taken down, which is, again, these are pictures that I saw. I saw the tweet, so I wanted to talk about it. And here was his exact tweet. He says, apparently, these leaked, in quotations, images of the DualShock 5, there's a possibility the controller could look something like this. They did a patent on a display for the front of the controller. The other 2 images were leaked DS4 prototypes in their final design. So what this looks like is, it looks like a weird PS5 controller. It's certainly not the same shape as the DualShock 4. I actually like the design. Shady had made a mention that the sticks are a little further apart so that your thumbs aren't crashing in to each other. If this in fact is the final design, it's going to be extremely interesting. I'm just concerned what the battery life is going to be having an LCD screen on the front, because as you know, if you're a PS4 owner, the DualShock 4 does not hold a charge very long, and you have to have multiples if you're going to do a 6 or 8 hour, gaming, session, and that kind of sucks. But Noof, I want to get to your opinion on this. I know that you have a PlayStation 4, and you've used the DualShock. I don't know what your opinion on it, but what were your takeaways from the so-called leaked design of the DualShock 5?
Well, first off, yes, I have a PlayStation 4. I do like the PlayStation DualShock 4 controller. I don't like it as much as my Xbox One controller. That's a guarantee, but it is their best DualShock they've had in quite some time. This one looks like a variant of that. I mean, if this is to be true, again, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but it looks like a variation of the DualShock 4. It looks a little bit thicker.
Yes.
Which could be problematic for some people and a welcome addition for others. Because I know for some people, that's one of the complaints they have with the DualShock is not only the positioning of the analog sticks, but just that the fact that the DualShock always felt a little bit minuscule. Especially if you got kind of big hands, they
Yes, I
tend to
agree.
wrap around quite a bit, and your fingers don't line up with the triggers the way they should. So that's been problematic. As far as this one, I mean, everything aesthetically, it looks and feels like a PlayStation controller. It could very well be legitimate. We've heard some rumors about this LCD touchscreen for a while, which I'm sure could have some great features. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. There's a couple of downsides. One, try to keep it clean and stuff like that. Two, it will probably make the controllers way more expensive.
Yes.
So you definitely don't want to be heaving them at the wall if you're playing Sekiro. That sort of
Good
thing.
point.
And and again, you got to worry, like I said, battery life, which has been problematic for the DualShock 4 so far. That ranges depending on some of the games you're playing, maybe how much you have the microphones turned up or the sensor light in the front of the controller. But like I said, whatever controller they come out with, I'm pretty sure they're trying to implement it with the next wave of VR, which I'm almost certain will come with the PlayStation 5. And another thing I think that has potential, and it might be big for some people, not for others, is the fact that maybe you'll be able to stream a small, like depending on the size of the screen, but perhaps you can actually stream a game to the controller. So again, if your TV is occupied, you could probably go sit on the couch or go sit somewhere else in the house and continue your game maybe on the controller, which is a possibility. Again, as long as they have a screen size that's as big as some of the portables or the handhelds we've seen in the past, again, that is a potential option. But I'm sure it has more to do with cosmetic and aesthetic things inside of the game itself. There could be a dozen applications for it. But thing is, with a lot of these PlayStation things, even like the touchpad on the DualShock 4, is it hasn't really been implemented and used in a lot of creative and fantastic ways. I can tell you one game that utilized the DualShock 4 fairly well is Astrobot Rescue Mission on VR.
That's a great game, dude. What a great title.
Absolutely. The way that they use that, like throwing the ninja stars or the grappling hook and a variety of other things. So again, plenty of potential, but those price, battery life, there's a lot of factors that, out there before you can kind of pass judgment on. And the control sticks, though, they didn't move at all, which is obviously, that's their thing, right? Is to have
that's just their patent controller setup. That's never going to change.
So, PlayStation fans out there are the ones suffering with the most carpal tunnel, I'm sure. But but that's my take on it, Boom.
All right. Well, listen, that was a great take. Lot of great points there. Price, power, what you can do with the screen. It's it's all going to be obviously we have no idea when the PS5 is coming out. We all believe it's going to be in 2020. But we don't know. And Sony didn't ask to have these images taken down, which surprised me. So I don't know how legitimate or how off these images are, but they look legit. Again, this could be fake. Again, I'm only going based on the guys tweeting the pictures. Shady, I want to get your opinion on this. For someone that does play a lot of games, we were talking privately prior to the show going live about, you had made mention that, well, at least the sticks are further apart. What were your takeaways from the design that I sent through DM? And, how big of a difference in price do you think this controller could cost? Because right now a controller is between $50 and $60. So if this has an LCD screen, this could be one of those $70+ controllers.
The price could go up due to the screen. Maybe. I'm not too sure. I mean, PlayStation 4 doesn't have a screen on it, but it does have a touchpad. I don't know the cost of touchpads and stuff, but like there are controllers that do have different types of technology in it that still somehow maintain that controller cost. Maybe they just make less profit on it at the end of the day. I'm not too sure how it's going to work out. I don't know why it's there. Unless Xbox is putting one on theirs. We already know Stadia doesn't have one on theirs. Nintendo maybe not. Maybe the screen is in the middle of your controllers with a Switch, but This isn't a standard thing, so it's not going to be used by 90+% of the games. All the third-party stuff, they're not going to touch it. They're not going to spend the extra money and time to do something with a little screen on your controller. We're all looking at our big screens. I don't want to be looking at a 2-inch anything. I don't. So I think it's just a gimmick. I don't think it's needed at all. I don't see a reason for it. They haven't given us a reason for it yet. Let's put it that way. I don't like the design of the controller. I don't like the stick placements. I am a fan that they're further apart. As you said before the show, I brought up that my thumbs constantly bash together when I play on the DS3 or 4. They're just too close together for me. And this seems to address that, which is nice. But the overall design of the controller, again, before the show started, I told you guys, it looks like Sony just gets a guy to draw a controller on a piece of paper. And from that step, they just make it. And that's it. They don't go through a phase of actual like trying it out and seeing if it's actually comfortable. Because I've never, ever in the history of the PlayStation brand found their controllers to be comfortable. I'm 6'6", so let's put that out there. I'm a big guy. I got big hands. But that's not the only reason. I just think that they're improperly designed. The ergonomics are off, man. They don't fit in my hand nice. I find that the lines are too straight. It's too edgy almost. I don't know. It's not a comfortable controller. After an extended playtime, I find I have sore spots on my fingers that I don't have when I'm playing on an Xbox or on the Switch Pro controller at all. So I'm just not a fan of the design. I think they can do better. I hope that they do better, and this isn't real. It just looks uncomfortable. It looks like a third party, like Mad Catz controller.
It does have a third party look. D Almighty in the chat says that these are that the controller that these images are fake. Now, again, if they are, I thought it would be worth talking about because it's the first leaked images. It looks legit to me, but on the same token, Almighty, Shady does have a point about it kind of looking Mad Cattish, if you will. It does look third party. Who the hell knows? I thought it would be a different topic. You know why? Because no one is talking about it, and why you turn into Breakfast with Boom each and every week is because you're not going to get the same regurgitated shit that everyone else is talking about. You're going to get new and fresh ideas on gaming, and we're going to talk about stories that you might or may not want to hear. Zemi, I know that you're an Xbox guy. I don't think you have a PS4, but seeing the images, in your opinion, could this in fact be the actual final specs, or is this just something that they're toying around with?
Yeah, so I don't have a PS4. I have had a PS4 this generation. I just got rid of it because I'm not the type of person that's gonna have two consoles. And the PlayStation 4 controller just really made me mad, and I wanted to go back to Xbox. So that's
I can hear that.
But so I think it could be an actual an actual prototype. I mean, it does look a little rough around the edges. Just looking at the image, it kind of looks like a bad version of the Xbox One controller because it's thicker. It has like the handles don't protrude out as much. But just looking at the controller, it kind of has that futuristic kind of look to it. And I know PlayStation, just their consoles, like they always have that futuristic kind of look to them as well. So, I don't think it's not possible for this. I don't think it's impossible for this to actually be a prototype of the controller. I hope it's not, and I hope they don't choose this one. But it could be. But like what So Shady was talking about, I don't really understand why they would add a screen on their controller. Which then again, I didn't really understand why they added the backlight or the touchpad on the PlayStation 4 controller. I just don't really think it needs it, and I don't really think it's a feature that got used very much because let's be honest, if they add that screen to the new PS5 controller or whatever this image is, if it's true, I mean, it's not going to get used other than, their first party, exclusive games. Developers aren't going to go and spend more time and money developing ways to use a feature that's on one controller for one system whenever they're releasing it for, 3 or 4 systems.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, listen, and you're right. For the for PlayStation, when they did these gimmicky kind of things, it was really just the first party that took advantage of it. And again, in the way development costs are these days, I don't necessarily think we're going to be seeing gimmicky. Again, it could be a completely. I don't think it's fake per se. I just think that it could be a prototype that got out there, and this is something they might have been toying around with. But yeah, listen, again, we're not going to spend too much on this subject because, what could you talk about? It could be the PS5 DualShock 5 or not, but it was interesting nonetheless. Let's move on to the next topic, though. Apple has unveiled Apple Arcade and its new gaming subscription service. And based on the trailer that I saw, and I've watched it numerous times, and I added it to the DM to get you guys' opinion on it. It appears that Apple, even though they're now throwing their hat into the ring very late, in my opinion, understands that exclusive content is what will drive gamers to their new service. Now, the story I got was from Esquire.com. And, like the Xbox Game Pass and or PlayStation View, a paid subscription grants you immediate access to the entire lineup, which features a wide variety of games from a mix of top tier and indie developers. The most important thing here, though, guys, is the words exclusive. And I'm personally not an Apple guy. I don't own any Apple products whatsoever. But I am a gamer who loves new experiences, and it seems that this new service seems to have it in spades. The game lineup will be updated regularly, and Apple has confirmed that there are no microtransactions and no ads on the platform. When you pay for a subscription to Apple Arcade, you get the whole thing. As for players who use multiple Apple devices, the company has also confirmed that you can jump from iPhone to iPad to Apple TV to Mac seamlessly and pick up where you left off for a total gaming convenience experience online and off. Now, look, here's the thing. The price has not been announced. And Apple, I got to be honest, their shit is expensive. And I don't know if they're going to be going for maximum people subscribing, offering it maybe $10 a month, or are they going to say, listen, we want big, super profits up front and charge something like $20 or $30 a month, which would completely box me out because I don't own any Apple products, so I'd actually have to go out and buy like an Apple TV if I wanted to be a part of it. Right. But what I find interesting, guys, and chat, is that right from the launch of this fall, there are going to be 100 exclusive games with more on the horizon. Noof Nukem, look, here's the thing. You talked about, and I know that you have a distaste for subscription this, subscription that, so I kind of already know what you're going to say. But with that said, they did show off some really cool looking games. And even though I'm not an Apple guy, I might want to at least give this sucker a shot. What are your takeaways on what Apple had to say? And also, what is your opinion of them jumping into the streaming game service this late?
Well, first, let me just say that if I had the money and the resources, I would start my own company. I'd call it Orange, just so I could have the slogan, you can't compare an apple to an orange, right?
Oh, God, I love it.
But no, I'm not an Apple guy either. I've had the iPhone in the past. I never got what the big kick was about it. You know what I mean? And again, it's another subscription. Sure, it's cool and it's going to appeal to some gamers, but it isn't for me. It's something that I'm just couldn't be bothered with. It's a lot more indie titles, and if I want to play indies, I'll just stick to my Switch because they got they got so many indies over there. Xbox got plenty indies. Yeah, I'm just, I want the big AAA experiences. Maybe Apple will get that eventually, but I'm just going to keep it short and sweet on this one, man. Apple gets a nay from me. I'm not even going to bother. My money is best spent elsewhere.
I mean, listen, that's okay. I mean, listen, I say this all the time. I should get a T-shirt like Mooch says, Mooch was right. Well, not every game is for every gamer, and that goes for services as well. Not every service is for you, and if it's not, then you just keep your money in your pocket. So Shady, you play a lot of games. You obviously are a huge proponent and spokesperson for Xbox Game Pass because of the incredible value that it provides. We've talked again privately through before the show started about how we both hope Sony follows suit and offers a Sony Game Pass where we can get all of their first parties day and date for $10 a month, because I'm freaking signing up day one. But Apple, they're late to the table. There's no doubt about it. But 100 games for whatever price they're going to try, and they're all original exclusives. I don't know, man. Something attracts me personally to the smaller title. Would you consider jumping in if the price was right?
If the price was right and the games are what I think they're going to be, then I would certainly consider it. I don't think it's a streaming service. I think it's like Game Pass and everything gets downloaded.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
And if that's the case, and we're running these games on our phones and our tablets and stuff, that pretty much spells the type of games that it's going to be. We can't have AAA experiences running on just your phone. They need to be streamed from the cloud to be doing that, at least today anyways. So I think these experiences are going to be more of the old school Xbox Live Arcade, the old school games, those old arcade games we all played in like Bullwinkles or Chuck E. Cheese and stuff like that growing up. Like I'm all over that. I do like those types of games. I'm not always in the mood for the, leaning forward, sweaty palm, cussing out some rando in a hardcore online shooter mentality or deep story driven. I just played, like, honestly, my entire game career, I played more of those old school arcade games than I have the new games, just because of the time periods. That's it. So they have a big nostalgia pull for me. So if the price is right and there is a whole bunch of neat looking games, like I love little twin stick shooters and
me too, right?
Juzzlers, I call them, a jumping puzzle game and a juzzler. I like stuff like that, man. I'm down with it. Little Mario runners, platformers. So if they are coming out with interesting looking titles, it's at an affordable price. I can play these things on my tablets, which is pretty cool. I might check it out just because of the fact that there's so many on offer, and that type of gaming, it does appeal to me. I still do find myself pretty often playing a lot of those old school type of games. I actually bought Gang Beasts just yesterday, and sadly, I didn't like it. I turned it on, I played it for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm getting a refund for it. It just didn't do it for me, but I try these games out a lot of the time. I do like that stuff, so I'm interested to see what they can bring. There's a lot of Apple diehards out there that just buy anything that Apple puts out. So I think it's going to be a success no matter what. But as far as whether or not the hardcore, quote unquote, gamer is going to be all over this, I doubt it. I could see a lot of hardcore guys that end up getting families and have to take it easy, maybe picking up something like this myself. I think there is an audience like that. The former hardcores, now casuals. But I'm just glad that there's a lot of big companies getting into the gaming world. It's a serious hobby that makes some serious money. And it's nice to see other people around the world, other companies, other entities taking it serious. It deserves to be.
No, I agree. I mean, listen, the more choice, the better is for consumers. Again, it's a choice, folks. More options are always better. Zemi, I want to get your take on it, because I know you said something during when Shady was saying regarding the downloads of the games. Apple is just not my cup of tea. It never has been. My brother Neo Mental has been trying to convert me for years upon years to get a Mac, to get an iPhone, to get an iPad. I'm an Android kind of a dude. It's simple. It does the job. I don't have all the unnecessary security that makes me not put my own wallpapers. And to me, it seems very convoluted with the Apple products. And of course, at the end of the day, their shit is expensive. Like I said in the opening, what are your takeaways from this 100 game service that they're going to have? Are you concerned about price? And is something that you would consider getting into?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not anything I would consider getting into. I do have an Apple iPhone. The only reason why I use Apple's is it's the first one I got. I know the iOS, and I just don't want to learn anything else. So that's the only reason why I use an Apple iPhone. But I'm not really too concerned about the price, because I'm just not really super interested in getting it. I think it would be in Apple's best I think it would be best for Apple to keep it low, like, possibly, $10 a month, maybe even $5 a month to get a lot more people into it. But one really big thing that I think Apple is doing, and they're doing it really, really phenomenally, is putting an emphasis on the word exclusives, because, we're hearing a lot of these companies starting to come out. Verizon has mentioned it. Google has really been talking about it here recently. But as far as I know, they haven't really been talking about, exclusive games. And I think that that's going to be the major thing that's going to push these game services out is, what exclusives can I get for Google that I can't get for Xbox. And so Apple definitely understands how the industry works, and they definitely have a good plan going forward. The main big reason why I'm probably not going to get it is because I'm just not really big into mobile gaming. I've never really been big into like handheld
and that's
consoles
that's a
or
great
smartphones.
great point, dude. You're the first one to bring it up. I must have failed as a host. Great point. It does have a very mobile feel to it. So you're not a mobile gamer, neither am I.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love indie games, but I kind of like those more higher tier indie games, if that makes
Gotcha.
any sense. Like I don't want, just a regular platformer that, like if it's a platformer, that's fine, but I want it to have something really unique to it,
So basically you're saying you want your games to have a little bit of soul to it.
Exactly. And I think that this service is really just going to have mobile games and indie games to it. I don't think that they're going to have any AAA games to it. And another thing as well is if they did have AAA games, are they going to allow controller support the way that Xbox is using their xCloud? Because
another good point.
I mean, just by watching a lot of these mobile games that are getting popular now, even like first person shooter mobile games, like on your smartphone, the controls just look all, wonky. And I use a controller. I need a controller. I can't be pressing and sliding my finger on the screen to try to shoot someone. It's just not going to work. But, ultimately, I think it's great news. I love to see more companies get into this. I love seeing Apple get into it, Google, Verizon, PlayStation. I want as many companies to get in on this as possible, because the more competition that arises, the better each of these companies are going to be, and consumers are just going to win.
Yeah, no, it's always great when the consumer wins, for sure. No doubt about it. Choice is good. And you know what? Again, you brought up some really fantastic points, dude. This is why I'm glad I added you to the panel. The mobile aspect, didn't even really consider that. And the controller. I don't know about you guys, but I've tried to use the virtual controller on a screen, and it's just abysmal. Does not make playing games fun. Plus, you can't see the screen. So, yeah, that's a great point. But you know what? Again, you can only talk about this so much. I want to move on to the next topic.
Boom, I'll just say that, like, I agree with one thing with Zemi, like you said, like competition is good, but here's one thing I do see happening with the games industry in the next few years as well. I think we're going to see some sort of a crash. It might not be an industry breaking crash, but I definitely think we're going to see a lot of studios start to either close up or get gobbled up, because what's going to happen now is we're going to have so much competition, so much competition for your dollar, because there's a lot of indie games and a lot of new upstart companies happening that I think a lot of them are just not going to be able to survive. I think as the market gets more crowded, messaging is going to get crowded as well, and people are not going to know where to go and what to buy their games. There's only so much time and so much money. I've said this a million times before, and when everybody's playing the same game, there you go. You got to pick and choose.
No, that's a great point. Really, really good way to close it out. You have something else you want to add to it?
No, I was going to say, do you think maybe that's why these services are becoming a thing, because there's just so many games and so many options that these companies like Netflix did are grabbing everything they can and putting it in one place for you for an easy, low monthly payment. Here you go. Have at her, as opposed to asking you to be buying everything up front, because then, I mean, it's too expensive to even attempt to play everything today. If you're buying it all, it's nuts. So I think that's why some of these services are becoming a thing. It's just, there's so much choice that they're giving us a bunch of it in one spot for a low monthly fee instead of asking for piecemeal everywhere. They know it's too much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's certainly food for thought. But again, what could you say? They're throwing their hat in the ring. We'll see. The one thing about Apple customers, they're very loyal, right? You know, they buy a phone every year. You know what I'm saying? So, what does mobile gaming cater to? Casual gamers, right? Like, I mean, I still play Words with Friends. With friends, I still have a shit ton of fun with that game. I play with with my wife all the time. We're sitting on the couch next to each other and we're on the tablets, and it's silly, but we used to have fun. And some of the other smaller games, I don't play much. Subway Surfer. I know it's a game that people would consider terrible, but I freaking love that game. It's just fun when I'm sitting at the doctor's office or on the train or waiting for my wife to come out of work. I'll pop it on for 10 minutes and I'll play, and I don't spend anything. But I see everyone's point. Great conversation.
Can I add something real quick?
Please, by all means, sir, go ahead.
So as you guys know, I'm a huge Xbox fan, but Xbox is coming out with the xCloud, where you will be able to hook up your mobile phone to a Bluetooth controller and like hold the controller with, and there's like an adapter that keeps the phone up so you can see, the screen and everything. Do you guys think that that's going to have any impact on what Apple is doing? Do you think that this huge section of the market for mobile games and people who play, on smartphones and tablets are going to possibly transition over to Xbox using the controller with their phone?
Well, I could just want to jump in real quick and say that the controller factor is the only thing that no one else is doing. And it is a big deal simply because Microsoft's controller is the best in the business. Hands down, bar none, end of story. You can like your DualShock 4, you can like your Pro controller, or even like the little Switch handles. You could like those. I get it. But the fact that you're going to be able to use an actual real controller that you would use on your Xbox is going to be the contributing factor. Anyone want to add anything to that?
I think it might happen a little bit. There could be some overlap with the two audiences that are looking for that AAA experience, as well as the old school, let's call them just mobile games, even just simpler games. Those games tend to play pretty decent on a mobile game or a mobile phone, a touchscreen, if you will, already, because they're built for it. Whereas the AAAs, the stuff we're using with controllers now, they don't. So I think the audiences are actually pretty different. Like my mom will play a lot of match threes and stuff. She tells me all the time about some clans and stuff she's in. She's going on about it when I talk to her. And it's like, oh my God, how much gaming do you do, woman? But that's all she does. It's just those types of games. Like there's no way that she's worried about a controller being necessary for her match 3 games and stuff. And I think there's a lot of people that are just like that. Same with, any Tetris. Anything that Apple's putting out, I feel will likely not need a controller. Some of them might play better with it. I can't say that, but I don't know. I think it's a small overlap, but in general, the two audiences differ so much that I don't think it's going to end up really forcing Apple's hand at all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's certainly going to be interesting to see where they go. Like I said, the exclusivity of the games is a big deal to me. They're smaller games and they're mobile games per se, but I think it's going to cater to a certain audience that Apple has. I mean, listen, they sell millions and millions and bazillions of phones, so I think it's going to work for them. But you know what? I want to talk about the next topic, and I'm smiling before I even mention what it is. Zemi is the youngest guy here. I don't know how old you are, Zemi, but he's definitely the youngin, if you will, of the panel. We're a bunch of old bastards over here, and that's okay, because with the age comes not only responsibility, but we get a chance to play games in this industry that we love so much in their infancy. Like, again, I say it all the time. I started out with dots and sticks on the Atari 2600, and I'm really, really privileged and honored to be able to say where I was and where I've gone through all of these generations. And Streets of Rage 4 was just revealed in a new teaser trailer. Sega is involved, and holy shit, did that game give me goosebumps then. It's giving me goosebumps now, and it brought back so many goddamn great memories of the Genesis. Obviously the graphics are much different. They're more of a cartoon-based graphics, but all of the original characters look to be there, even the bad guys, and it just looks like it's going to be really fun game. I did not see a release date. I'm hoping it's going to be in 2019 if they're showing the teaser trailer. I will be buying that day one. You know, and I've watched the trailer 3 times. I put it in the DM so everyone can get as hyped as me. Hopefully, you guys like side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I grew up in the arcades playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, X-Men, Captain America and the Avengers, The Simpsons, Knights of the Round, Aliens versus Predator, which is my favorite side-scrolling beat 'em up by Capcom, and of course the granddaddy of all side-scrollers, Double Dragon. And you know, Streets of Rage, it's what you would expect. But it's something it's something I didn't expect. There are combos that you can do between the characters where I throw someone, you kick them, punch them, kick them back to me, and you're just, it's like you're playing ping pong with a body. It looked so much fun. Now I'm assuming it's going to have co-op, online co-op, because that was what, you know, back in the days, we didn't have online. We had, you know, couch co-op, but, you know, it is 2019. So I would imagine there's going to be some sort of co-op. I hope they give a 3-player option because there are 3 characters. Noof Nukem, a guy that appreciates the classics. Did you watch the video I sent? And what were your takes on the fact that we're actually getting a Streets of Rage 4?
Dude, first off, I was a huge Sega kid. Second of all, I love Streets of Rage. That franchise was one of the best reasons to own a Sega Genesis, especially number 2. If you go back and play those games now, number 1 hasn't aged as well. Number 2 and 3 were definitely pinnacles in that franchise for sure. And, you know, it's kind of funny. We're starting to see a resurgence, obviously, of fighting games, which dominated arcades for years. And the other franchise or other type of game that dominated was the 2D, the side scroller, kick 'em up, beat 'em up. Most of those games were always fantastic to play in the arcade. They were fantastic with friends because most of them either had 2-player co-op or 4-player co-op. I mean, Turtles in the arcade was just incredible. It's games like the X-Men. You know, the list goes on. Yes, the granddaddy was Double Dragon, which, you know,
Final Fight. I forgot to add to that
Final
list.
Fight.
Yes,
absolutely. That was another good one. You know, that was basically Capcom's version. There were so many good games. A lot of them were just, you know, very aesthetically similar, but very different in other ways. I saw the video of this new game, and the first thing that struck me is that, one, I love the art style, right? The hand-drawn comic book. You know what it reminded me a lot of is, remember that other game on the Genesis called Comic Zone? Remember
dude,
that one?
was awesome.
Yeah, no. Well, this is what this game kind of reminded me of, was a little bit of Comic Zone mixed with Streets of Rage too. But I liked how they didn't just completely overhaul. They did the graphic overhaul, but have you noticed that they basically left the same, like the enemy types, or a lot of them are the same games, a throwback, and the animation system. They didn't have the fluid animation. It had that bit of that funny, you know, that old school 16-bit, you know, 5 frames kind of animation. Which basically makes it really feel like a new age, old age game. If you blend it, the old and the new, this is what you got. You got the hybrid. You got Streets of Rage 4. It looks fantastic. Definitely go and play it. Speaking of great beat 'em ups as well, guys, I don't know if you haven't played it. It's a shameless plug here to throw for a really good scroller that came out about 6 or 7 months ago. It's called Raging Justice. You can get it for Xbox, PS4, and Switch. And it was made by a very small company.
Husband and wife, dude.
Husband and wife.
Yes.
The guy who made it was a huge Streets of Rage fan back in the day. You know, he made as much as inspiration coming. The guy slaved away on it for a long time, and that one's really good too. I like the art style of that, and it definitely is a good throwback to Streets of Rage. Not to get off topic, but if you haven't played that game, guys, go check it out. I think it's on sale right now too. I bought it for the Switch because I thought that'd be a great game to have on a portable. But yeah, man, bro, I'm super stoked. Like Streets of Rage 4 will be a day one. I don't buy a lot of these indie style games, but look, how can I pass up on one of the most beloved franchises of all time? So it looks fantastic. Can't wait. I just hope that they have online co-op. I really do. I mean, I love to play couch co-op, but the honest to God truth is
you have to have it in this day and age, dude. It's a must.
Yeah, couch co-op is a must, but I mean, online would be fantastic. That is one of the drawbacks, I think, with Raging Justice, is you can't do online.
Yeah,
co-op.
they're working on it right now. They are going to add it as a free DLC.
Absolutely. So yeah, if they can get that online co-op in there, man, and stuff, I don't care that it's just 2-player, but just get that in there, make it work good. I can't wait. Game is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I definitely can't wait. Shady, before I get to you, brother, Infinite in I think it's Infinite. That's how you pronounce it. A good friend of the show dropped an outstanding $5, $10 super chat. He says, "Amazing panel, guys. Yes, I try to bring new and unique people of this community to each and every show. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It is extremely kind of you, and of course the kind words that followed." Shady, look, when you talk about childhood, at least when I do, it brings back memories of when things like the WWF. Roddy Piper, Transformers, Thundercats. And, when you think of these things, for me, I think of my Genesis days, which I absolutely freaking loved, man. And when I saw that Streets of Rage 4 was getting released, I actually had to kind of rub my eyes to make sure I was reading. And then I saw the trailer. And again, folks, this is not bullshit. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because this brings me back to when I was a kid, sitting with a 3-button controller that was 2 times as big as my hands were when I was a kid. Loved the Sega Genesis, loved Streets of Rage, and the fact that we're getting one in 2019 completely blows my mind. What were your takeaways from the trailer, dude?
I thought it was really good. I also love this genre from my past. It was one of my favorite genres ever as a kid. Like I said, Ninja Turtles. I remember being in the arcade the first time seeing that Turtles in Time when the guy grabbed the foot soldier, did the spin move and threw the soldier at the screen, and he got big and hit the screen and it cracked. And it's like, it was just in your face, incredible. My mind was blown. I love Battletoads. I was a Super Nintendo guy, so I wasn't huge into Streets of Rage. I played it at my buddy's houses and I loved it there because the genre it was one of our favorites, man. There's nothing like sinking your fists into the guts of a bunch of street punks and dropping suplexes and everything else. It's so good. I love it. We would have like our own little narrative as we went through because we would beat these games like 5 times in a row per sitting because it would only take you, half an hour to beat the game. And then we would just restart it and swap characters or whatever, give ourselves different challenges. Let's try and do it without doing the super move, whatever. And we would come up with our own little narratives. We'd have to go and save our girlfriend because the bad guy stole her. And we had a great time. I love these games. And they just kind of went away for a long time. And again, with today's graphics and the physics and stuff that we could be implementing here, I would love to see a resurgence of just beat 'em ups. We could have cool combos, wicked moves, lots of destruction. I want to suplex a dude through a table with tons of stuff on it, shit flying everywhere. Like, I'm glad that the genre is at least right now getting this game. There are a couple of other ones that have done it, but they always feel, I think, almost too old school. I would like that genre to evolve a little bit and become just a little bit more modern, but at the same time, I'm still just walking around in the streets beating up punks. Like, that's really what I want to do, but I want more. Like, I want more from all my games. And this is one genre that I would love to see come back and do it good. And I hope Battletoads is something similar when it finally gets unveiled as to what it is. I hope it is a walk around beat 'em up, because that was what the arcade version of Battletoads was, and that's what a lot of the levels were in the console version of the games as well. So I really hope that they go that route. But Streets of Rage, man, it was good times. There's a lot of punks. They need to get beat up, so I'm excited for it. I can't wait for it to come out.
Speaking of 2D side-scrolling beat-em-ups, Boom, I know you're a partner with One Up Arcade, and I know that they've got some stuff up their sleeve. I don't know if you're able to elaborate on anything with those guys, but I've heard some rumors that they may have some big 2D beat-em-ups coming in a cabinet real soon. Are you able to elaborate on any of that?
I mean, I've talked with marketing. I have nothing concrete. I know that at the show, there were some pictures taken. The room. Well, first of all, we're getting a Final Fight cabinet this year, and it's going to consist of Final Fights, Ghouls and Ghosts, Strider, and one other one. I don't remember what the fourth. 1943. That's going to be the fourth title. If you're a Capcom fan, every one of those are a hit. But there has been talk within the cabinet industry that Arcade One Up is looking to put out a cabinet that's going to have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, Turtles in Time, which is the second one, The Simpsons, and the X-Men arcade. Now, again, I don't have any confirmation of that, in fact, is going to happen, though that is the hot rumor. We are getting Mortal Kombat, which is with this year, which is also going to have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I think a lot of people are going to want to jump on that. These machines are only $300, and they are just, I did an unboxing, shameless plug on my channel if you wanted to see the Midway cabinet. But these machines are top notch, well worth your money if you, of course, have the room and are an arcade kind of a person. So that's what I have on that. Again, nothing confirmation. It's what I've been hearing. I hope it comes to fruition because that would be dope. Zemi, again, just because you're a little younger does not mean you do not appreciate the 2D era. What are your takeaways from what you saw with Streets of Rage 4? And do you have any memories of the original series?
I did not hear anything. I didn't even know of Streets of Rage until like last year, whenever some people were talking about it.
Okay.
But with that being said, I do have, I guess, a little bit of experience in like the whole genre of like the side-scrolling beat 'em up. Like the very first console I ever played was the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't remember which one it was called, but I do remember, I think it's at the opening of the game, like the guy picks someone up and throws them at the screen and like the screen cracks or something. I had some like Terminator, like side scrolling game. I had a Simpsons one. I had quite a few of like the side scrolling beat 'em up games. And so it is a genre that I definitely do appreciate. However, I have never played any Streets of Rage game. But I do love how a lot of these companies are bringing back these older franchises and getting them remastered. So they have, a life with, younger gamers like me, or even, gamers that are even younger than me and have no idea what we're even talking about. Right.
Right. Yeah.
But I am interested in possibly buying it. It just kind of depends on how much it's going to cost. And
it's probably going to be a 10 or 15 buck title.
Yeah,
I can't see it being more than that.
Yeah. And then, like as a fighter kind of games person, I'm not, that's not usually my thing. I don't usually like running around and just punching people. But I do love how this game's looking. The graphics look fantastic. And I love how they have the new graphics, but with the old gameplay. It's just,
yes.
it just seems really, really cool.
Yeah, no, great point. Yeah, that's a great point where you talk about, new graphics, stylized graphics over the original, but keeping what made the original great, and that's the simplistic gameplay. Sometimes they come out with these not rehashes, but reinventions, and they don't need to do that, and they kind of change what made the game great. Hopefully, based on the trailer, it looks like Streets of Rage just with newer graphics. And this has been a great topic. I love talking about classic stuff. It's something you're going to get on this channel. A lot of people don't talk about it because, you know what? Everyone's talking about what's the hotness. I like to bring back the original thought process, especially because I'm a classical kind of a dude. Plus, I'm the old bastard in the room. So, of course, I have a storied history with gaming. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic. And it's a good one. The latest trailer for Remedy's next title, called Control, was just released, and to say that I'm extremely impressed would be considered an understatement. Now, I've been a fan of Remedy's work since the Xbox 360 days when they released Alan Wake and its smaller but awesome arcade follow-up title, Alan Wake's American Nightmare. Both of these titles told great stories that added a horror/mystery element unlike anything before it. And then on April 5th of 2016, Quantum Break was released for the Xbox One, and in my opinion, was another incredible tale told by the masters of storytelling at Remedy Studios. Now, the one thing that has always dragged on about Remedy's reputation is that they do take a long time to make a game, and you know what? I appreciate it because they want to get it right, but at the same time, it is slightly annoying. Now, Quantum Break was something very different. It got a lot of slack. Obviously it ran at 720p. They eventually fixed that. They moved it up to 900, and now I think it runs in 4K with the X. They went big with motion capturing some of Hollywood's biggest star power, and the list was pretty stout, to be honest with you. I mean, the main character was played by Sean Ashmore. The main antagonist was played by Aidan Gillian, who's a great actor. And they had some other actors in there. Lance Reddick from John Wick, and he was fantastic in this film. I called it a film. In this game as well. I got a 1,000 out of 1,000 achievement points. And Control, look, here's the thing. A lot of people, including myself, were extremely disappointed on two fronts. One, that Microsoft did not push for a Quantum Break 2. Remedy wanted it, from what we hear. I think they should still buy Remedy because I think that they're a talented developer and would be a great first-party game. If they did, maybe we'd get an Alan Wake reboot or an Alan Wake 3 or even a Quantum Break 2. But in the latest trailer, the main character, Jesse Faden, seems to be like a real awesome female protagonist that just kicks ass from top to bottom. Her powers mimic Force power. So if you're a Star Wars fan, she has a lot of Star Wars like powers in this game. And there's and what I really enjoyed about it is that it did give me the Quantum Break feel. Now, I've heard people say, and I've said it myself, that this seems to be like it could have been a Quantum Break 2 with a female protagonist. And I would have been okay with that. But it's not. It's its own entity. Control will be coming out this year. Panel, I want to get your opinion on this. I think that this is going to be a sleeper hit for the industry because of Remedy's background of being an incredible developer. Noof, what were your takeaways from the video I sent through DM?
First off, I'll just say that I love Remedy's games. Alan Wake was amazing. I love Quantum Break. I think it's still one of the most critically overlooked and maybe underrated games of the gen. Yeah. I liked a lot of stuff, and most of the hate it got was because, well, it didn't do, I don't know, it wasn't at full 1080 and blah blah blah, and it had too many cut scenes or whatever, the video port. But that was part of the promotion. I mean, that's what they were going for, right? It was intertwining. I like that. You didn't have to watch it if you wanted. You could skip right through it. But it was just, it was kind of cool. Not many people have done something like that. But I mean, the graphics, the mocap, the stuff in that game was absolutely phenomenal. Again, it doesn't get enough love for how good the graphics were. I think they're right up there at the top of this generation, in my personal opinion. People might disagree, but I really like the game. Now, as far as the new Control game is concerned, this game looks amazing. The powers, the main character, it basically looks like
she's throwing cars, dude.
Exactly, But it looks like they took a lot of the work that they have, because I mean, remember when the first trailer was showing off at E3, I think it was last year, whatever, and everybody almost thought it was immediately like a sequel to Quantum Break, but it turned out not to be, and that in itself is a little bit of the hypocritical nature of this business, because Quantum Break got trashed really hard, especially from the PlayStation community, right, who couldn't find anything good to say about the game. But boy, when Control got showed off on that PlayStation stage last year, boy, there was people getting soggy in the seats after that. It was like, okay, what the fuck, right? It's good now because it's on PlayStation, but it wasn't good enough because it was on Xbox. I mean, how hypocritical can people be? Regardless of that bullshit, look, this game looks like it's going to be stellar. Hopefully they spend plenty of time just polishing it and making sure it's everything it can be. Remedy is also notoriously bad for missing deadlines and kind of delaying games and being late to the party. So, but yes, the character looks good. The graphics look absolutely amazing. I'm excited for this game. It'll probably be a day one purchase for me. If it's anything like Quantum Break, I have high hopes for it. Like I said, the characters, I think even the main character in the game is actually the girl that played the cop in Quantum Break. I can't remember the name of the character in the game, but I think it was I'm pretty sure it's the same girl, isn't it? It looks like the same one.
I'm pretty sure it's the same actress. I'm almost positive it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it, but I haven't really, picked apart the trailer and stuff yet, but I did watch it. It looks amazing. Again, lots of psychosis kind of powers or whatever you want to call it,
Yes.
telekinesis and shit like that. So, you know, a bit of gunplay, probably a good story as well. Remedy usually has some pretty neat stories, so it should be a damn good game. Hopefully it gets the love it deserved, and it isn't one of those that comes out, it's hot for a week and then slides under the radar, and it'll probably be a Game Pass. I can already see people doing this already. Just wait till it comes to Game Pass. I can already hear it, but yeah.
Shame. G-Man 1172 in the chat says, yes, she played Beth in Quantum Break. Thank you for the save, my brother. Appreciate that. And you did great last night on Saltiest Gaming podcast. He was a guest. The panel was lit. A lot of great topics. If you missed Salty's show, head over there and listen to G-Man do what G-Man does best, and that's be himself on the air, and that is awesome. So Shady, you know, Noof brought up a great point. The one thing about Remedy is that they, and I said this in the opening, they are the masters of storytelling, and they dot every I, they cross every T, and I'm super stoked for Control. What were your takeaways from the trailer? And is this something you can see yourself playing? Again, no multiplayer, it's just going to be a strong single-player, story-driven, narrative-driven title, and it looks like it has everything in spades.
It does. It looked really good. Remedy, for me, first dropped on the map when they came out with Max Payne 1 and 2 before selling. They sold that. They sold that franchise to Rockstar now, so Rockstar owns it. Remedy has nothing to do with it anymore. But they essentially popularized bullet time, slow-mo bullet time in games, the diving through, you know, in the air, slow-mo, shooting guys. They brought that to us, and it was insane. Max Payne 1 and 2, I absolutely loved them so much. And when Alan Wake first came out, I was not interested in it at all throughout its promotional phase. I just didn't care. But my roommate at the time, he got it, and I played it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was really good. It freaked me out. I thought it was extremely atmospheric. It had a cool story to it, neat little mystery, very Twin Peaks-ish for anyone that's watched that kind of show. I like the company. I also enjoyed Quantum Break. I thought it was a good game. I don't expect them to keep doing the TV show type thing again, even if Microsoft continues with Quantum Break on their own. I don't think they're going to go that route again. They did it decent enough. The show was entertaining enough. There was good actors in it and stuff like that. But when I'm gaming, I don't want to put my controller down for 45 minutes at a time. That was a weird thing to do. It was neat, but not in every game. So Quantum Break also, I mean, it was wrapped up when the resolution gate was just at its strongest point, man. When if something wasn't 1080, if it was 720 or 900p, it wasn't worth touching. And that was just the mantra with the hardcore, and a lot of these sites, especially IGNs and stuff, were really running with things like that at the time, whereas you just don't see it today at all. And I think Quantum Break fell victim to that. Also, the fact that it was an Xbox exclusive. I mean, Noof brought it up when they showed Control at E3. I think Sony did the one thing they did at last E3 correct, in my opinion, was never, ever mentioned the word exclusive once, whether it was with their own actual exclusive games or whether it was with the third party. They just let us do the legwork and figure it out. And I thought that was brilliant. It was brilliant because when they showed Control and it doesn't say, and like if they showed God of War right before Control and it said exclusive, and then as soon as you see Control and it doesn't say that, you know it's a multi-platform game. And that's just the way it is. Whereas because Sony never said the word exclusive once all E3, they just showed trailers and stuff. When Control was first revealed, the Sony guys went crazy because they were willing to let their brains run with the fact that this might be an exclusive. We don't know yet because they didn't tell us. So people were already doing the legwork and researching the game. If anything, it got the game more eyes on it because people were looking. Where is this game going to be? Where can it only be played? It turns out it can only be played everywhere. But people were still excited. Their initial reaction was massive excitement. And I think a lot of it came from the potential exclusiveness to Sony's platform. Turned out it wasn't. People knew within 20 minutes of the show ending or of the trailer ending. But that initial 20 minutes, man, they were hyped. They were hyped. Yeah. And they just maintained that hype. Oh, it's on Xbox too. Oh, well, who cares? It did look good. I gave it a fair shot. I'm excited. So I think a lot of games, a lot of E3s should start doing that. This E3, Microsoft should never say exclusive once and just show game trailers and let us wonder. Let us do the legwork. When you go to the store, that's going to be the last straw. There's no wondering anymore. It's, can I buy this on PlayStation or Xbox? And it's one or the other or both. So I think they should stop saying the word. I'm tired of hearing it. But the game looks good beyond any of that stuff. The game looks really good. Like the environment is coming apart. There's a lot of physics at play here. You're grabbing items out of the world, smashing stuff, throwing guys through tables and everything. I love that kind of thing. I'm a huge Star Wars guy, as we talked about it last week.
Yes, you are. Yes.
So anything that resembles me manipulating the Force is a win. I like it. And her gun looks neat. It's like a transforming gun that kind of does what it needs to do in the moment. I think that's pretty cool. Kind of Judge Dredd style.
Yes.
You know, he just has whatever ammo he needs. I like that type of thing as well. I think this game is going to, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, especially the Sony guys, because Remedy has worked with Xbox exclusive for a long time now. So it's going to, for the Sony only fans, this might be the first time they've played a Remedy game in a while, and they're good, man. They have a good atmosphere, a good story. The graphics are really good. I think they nail their combat mechanics as well, and I'm really excited. I think it comes out in August, which is perfect.
Great time for it to come out.
Yeah, it's perfect. I was thinking just last night, I knew there was a game coming in August, and I forgot what it was, and it was driving me nuts. I thought maybe it was Outer Worlds, but we don't know when that's coming yet, so I didn't know. And then as soon as you said Control, that was it. I'm like, yes, that's the one. That's the August title. Excellent. So that's a good month. It's relatively on its own, I bet, before the big holiday glut comes in starting in September. I think it's going to do really well. I'm excited.
Yes, like I said, I saw the trailer. I watched it numerous times. You know, obviously because I'm the host of the show and I want to have the proper opinion on it. But yeah, because I'm such a fan of them. Emperor Zemi. Yeah, I know. I told you I was going to get Emperor in there at one point or another.
Thank you.
Wanted to just get your opinion on this. Remedy. They are one of the very few developers. When you talk about developers. A lot of them they don't last, because they're a smaller company. We've seen companies of their size come and go rather quickly, and they still are hanging around. And Shady made mention of it. I think it was Shady about Max Payne 1 and 2. You talk about Alan Wake, you talk about Quantum Break, and now they have the new Control. It's a new franchise, female-led protagonist, looks to be a complete badass from top to bottom. What were your takeaways from the trailer, and are you excited to see Remedy hit one out of the park and become a multi-plat developer?
Yeah, absolutely I am. I love Remedy. I never played Alan Wake because I'm a nervous gamer. I don't like scary situations, and that game just looked a little bit too creepy for me to play. I absolutely, positively loved Quantum Break. Like it was probably my favorite game in what was it, like 2014, 13, maybe 15? I don't know.
I think it was 2014 that came out.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing that Quantum Break really reminded me of. So on PlayStation, you have these really strong narrative-driven games like Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, Uncharted, The Last of Us, stuff like that. That's what Quantum Break reminded me of. Like it really made me think like I was playing, like a really good PlayStation exclusive whenever I was playing that. And so I really am very upset that Xbox did not acquire Remedy, or they haven't yet. But as of Control, really excited about it. A little part of me kind of wishes that they were making Quantum Break 2 instead of Control, but just watching the trailer, it looks really, really cool how, your character levitates up in the air, how your transforming gun changes. And I'm guessing you would just level it up to unlock the different changes and whatnot. Like the force pushing on different environments, like walls and cars and stuff like that. The gameplay looks absolutely amazing. The only thing is there was a portion in that trailer where it showed some really creepy, deformed creature.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. That's the thing that's keeping me on the edge. I'm gonna be honest.
That's great.
That is the one thing that's keeping me on the edge about this game, because I do not do good in creepy, scary situations.
You know what? I think because you're going to have so many powers, you're going to be able to overpower them and
Yeah.
maybe push your way through the scary, creepy part of the game. I don't know. It looks interesting. Great takes on everybody. I'm glad to see that everyone not only appreciates Remedy, people in the chat as well. It's great to see them that they're going to have. It looks like it's going to be a success. Again, being on multiple platforms is going to increase sales for that company. I really want this to do well for them because, like I said, they have been around a long time. They are a smaller developer, and they are great storytellers. And I'd like to see more games, more original content, possibly a sequel if this turns out to be as good as I think it is. But let's move on to the next topic. And again, a big smile from me. Mortal Kombat 11's newest trailer has been launched, and holy shit, man. NetherRealms, led by the outstanding Ed Boon, seem to have taken gore and fatalities to a level of 31. It is just amazing that, we have to look at the big picture here. Okay, first of all, this is going to be the first real Mortal Kombat in this generation, and they seem to have taken complete advantage of it. Now, older cats like us remember that it launched in August 9th of 1992, and I remember staying in arcades, putting up my quarters, watching fatalities, going to, I don't even remember where the hell we got our codes from to learn the fatalities. I don't remember where it was. Might have been like an early version of Game Facts. But the gore and the gruesomeness of the fatalities back in the days, because it was fresh for us, right? We had virgin eyes on this blood and bones flying all over the place, heads being ripped out, people being on fire. We never seen any shit like this before.
No.
And look, I'm gonna say this. I don't understand how the masters of fatalities come up with what I consider frighteningly disturbing with ultra cool and being ultra cool at the same time. First of all, Noof, I want to get your opinion on this. Is Mortal Kombat 11 going to be a day one purchase? It does come out, I believe, on the 26th of April. I have the ultimate ridiculous expensive collector's edition paid for already.
With the mask?
Yeah, with the mask. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Nice.
I'm doing an unboxing for that for sure because it's a rare piece and I had to have it in my collection. Even if I had to sell a kidney to get it, I was doing it. What were your takeaways from the newest trailer, and are you a fan of Mortal Kombat?
Okay, before I answer that question, a couple little tidbits for you guys. Wanted to go back to the Remedy thing and just say that for those of you who didn't know, little known fact, a lot of us Remedy fans may know this, but here's one for you, that the Remedy co-founder or the co-guy, the studio head, Sam Lake, he actually provided the face for the original Max Payne. So that character in the game is actually Sam Lake. That's his actual face on the character before they went full 3D polygonal faces for the following games. I don't know if people knew that, but just thought I'd put that out there.
Right.
Second of all, when it comes to Zemi, I just wanted to say, man, in terms of age, brother, as long as you can hold a controller in one hand and your balls have dropped far enough, then you can do an official teabag, then you're old enough to rock and roll, baby.
I love it. That's great.
Okay, let's get over to your question at hand. When it comes to Mortal Kombat 11, oh my God. Look, I kind of given up on fighters for a long time. The last one that actually even stirred the proverbial needle for Noof Nukem had to be Killer Instinct, just because it looked so cool, and it was such a long time since we'd seen an official Killer Instinct game come out on the Xbox. It was a phenomenal job. Iron Galaxy knocked it out of the park. I think it was Iron Galaxy and a few other companies, but Mortal Kombat, this one in particular, I don't have enough explicitives to say how good this game looks. I've seen so many play in the beta right now. I'm posting clips of it, and the character detail is off the charts. I don't know how many polygons each character is made up of, but I swear to God, you can see the plaque on Baraka's teeth in this game. It's insane.
Yeah.
The animation system is super fluid. Obviously, they've been taking it's been working really well for them over the last couple of years, using that engine from Mortal Kombat 10, and obviously the what do you call it, the Justice League games that they did, Injustice games. But they've definitely upped the ante on this one. The environment detail as well, the interactiveness between the environments and the characters, things like cloth mechanics and physics look amazing. I mean, Mortal Kombat's been this so long. How can they come up with more interesting ways to decapitate people? But boy, yeah, they keep doing it. There's one in particular. I saw this guy. I don't know if he knocked it with Sonya Blade or so. He knocked her into this like looked like a brick wall, and basically she was stuck in there. He goes over and basically just rips the skin right from the flesh. It was just the stuff that's in this game is just absolutely nuts in the detail. I can't get over it, Boom. It is definitely a day one for me. And like I said, I'm not a big fighting game. I think just like I said, the graphics alone, how cool this game looks, how next gen this game officially looks, has me super stoked. I think everybody's going to be playing it. I definitely think it'll be one of those games worth the purchase. I can't wait to see kind of the story mode and the progression system throughout the game. It's going to be fantastic. So I can't say enough good about it. All I can definitely say right now is I'm going to have to go, leave this podcast shortly. I'm going to have to start working some corners because April month again has Days Gone and Mortal Kombat 11. Like, holy crap, all coming up within like about a week of each other. So I better start making some money here, man, because my wallet has been taken at absolute poundings. Like prison sex going on here with the wallet.
Oh my God! Well, hopefully none of us will ever learn what prison sex is about. But Shady, I want to get to your Shady. I want to get to your point. I want to get to your point on this. You know, one of the things that forget the fact that I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but the characters, they look so big on the screen. And I have a 65-inch 4K TV. You know what? This is what I do. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do titty bars. I'm a gamer, right? That's my only vice, and that's what I enjoy, right? So I spent the money on the TV, and I'll be upgrading in the next year or two because this TV is getting a little long in the tooth. But the takeaway from everything that Ed Boon and his team show off is the size of the characters. They're so big, they're so detailed, and it looks to be maybe the best in the series. What were your takeaways from the latest trailer, dude?
I loved it, man. And I also love that old school versus the new school. Is that the one we're talking about, or is there a different one as well?
No. It's new school. Yeah, it's that.
Yeah,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it was so good. I loved it. You got like Kano from Mortal Kombat 3, the new Liu Kang and Kung Lao, who are total evil badasses now, bumping into their old selves, the goody two-shoes back when they were praying with the monks and everything else. Like, I really like that. I think it's cool, man. The story in these games, especially since Mortal Kombat X, like NetherRealm, they just nail it as far as story in a fighting game. No other company is doing story in fighting games like NetherRealm, not even close. And Mortal Kombat, it works better in the story in the game, I think, than it would ever work in a movie. A lot of people want another Mortal Kombat movie, but we take movies too serious, I think, as a population. As soon as it's in the theater, you expect a certain level of something, and Mortal Kombat is just, it's cheese on top of more cheese, and it's so good for it, and it works in a video game setting. As soon as it's a video game and you're just watching like a 5-minute cutscene, you accept what they're giving you. It's kind of like, oh yeah, cool, they're over in NetherRealm and they're fighting Melina as she tries to take over the X, Y, and Z, and the time guy comes up. We're all just on board with it. We don't have movie critics calling it garbage. I think it works way better in the video game world than it ever did on the big screen. I hope it stays where it is because they are nailing it when it comes to the narrative. I'm so excited for this new story. I'm playing Mortal Kombat X1 actually right now again with my roommate. We're loving it. It's hilarious. The amount of gruesome violence out of nowhere is funny. And it's just a neat fighting game story as opposed to just a tournament of guys fighting just to fight. Like, I love it. Mortal Kombat for me has been huge since the very first game. I still remember seeing my very first fatality. It was Scorpion pulling his mask off and just breathing fire on the guy and burning him to a crisp in his skeleton. And Boom, you were right, man. We hadn't seen violence like that in video games up until that point, man. And I thought I was ready for it, man. I was hyped. Mortal Kombat had big hype around it. We'd all heard about it in school. We went down to the arcade. We were watching some older guys play. He did the fatality. Both me and my best friend, we were just like almost ill. Like, oh my God, we weren't ready.
I love
we
it.
weren't
That's
ready.
great.
And that scorpion fatality is tame. He just burns the guy to a skeleton.
And the guy comes out and writes, "Toasty."
Yeah, like that's it. Like, imagine if the first one we saw was Sub-Zero's, where he's ripping his head off with the dangling spine and stuff. Like, we would have rocked us. But we were instantly hooked, man. We had to see the fatalities. We had to gross ourselves out. It was such a new thing, such a taboo as well, when you had senators and lawmakers and parents in an uproar, man, trying to change the laws, trying to ban this thing because they're worried there's going to be kids ripping each other's heads off on the playgrounds.
Wait till this game comes out, Katie, my lord. Mortal Kombat NetherRealms better get the lawyers ready right now, let me tell you.
I don't know, man. The environment is different now. It's not so shock value anymore. At the time when it was brand new, no one had seen anything like that. And my God, if people weren't flipping, when you're an adolescent, man, I was like in grade 6, maybe 7. That's all you needed to hear to be like, yes, I need it. Whatever it is, I need it. The whole world thinks it's terrible. I must partake. Like you're rebelling as hard as you humanly can against society at the time. And Mortal Kombat was calling out to the male audience. My God, the lineups were deep in that arcade always. I loved it, man, all the way up, all into its different iterations. When it first started going 3D, I was still there, man. I loved it. Seeing all the fatalities for the first time in 3D, great. And now the violence level is jacked up on a level that is so gratuitous, so in your face that it's almost equivalent to like slapstick graphic violence. It's just kind of like, you become desensitized so quick to it because it's never ending. And I love that about it because it's not kind of just out of nowhere every now and then. And it's just kind of like, ew, that was gross. Every match, someone's getting an arm ripped off. There's x-rays vision of people's skeletons getting shattered. There's gallons of blood being spilt. So it's almost exciting as opposed to there to gross you out. You're there to be like, oh yeah, look at the way his liver just split in half and the intestines wrapped around the other guy's neck like a bow tie. I'm down. I love it.
Yo, so shady. It's Arnold here. I wanted to pop in and just tell you couldn't have hit the nail on the head any better because back in the 80s, believe it or not, the little known fact, but there was actually a group that complained about Terminator. They complained because they wanted the T-800 to put the fucking skin back on. They complained it was naked. I swear, that's how the times have changed.
They have. I agree, Arnold. I agree. You're a huge star. Big fan, by the way. There's a lot of games are violent today, but I still feel in this generation especially, a lot of the devs are afraid of pushing that violence in a lot of their games. Mortal Kombat is one of the only ones, man, or anything with zombies in it. If you have a zombie in your game, you can be hardcore. No one's going to give you any guff about it. But as soon as it's people, like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or whatever, we get a little spurt here and there, and that's it. But there's no savagery. I would like to see the brutalness of Mortal Kombat fatalities brought into a couple of the shooters, not all of them, even just make it an option, damn it, where I can turn it on or have it off. But like, last
turn up the gore is basically what you're saying.
Big time. You remember Soldier of Fortune?
Yes,
anyone ever played that game?
It was extremely gory.
It was sold like its marketing was like there are 14 different spots on the head that you can blow off, blow his nose off, blow 3 parts of his chin off, blow his ear off, take his guts out. Like it sold itself on that violence. The game wasn't that good, but I enjoyed it because it was willing to just roll with that part of it. These are video games. No one is being hurt here. No one's being killed. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just enjoyment.
It's silly fun. It's the same kind of stuff you'd see in a graphic novel or a comic from Dark Horse.
That's right, man. And I would love to see a couple games go all out with it and just see what we can do. We have awesome game engines today with just fantastic liquid physics and everything else. And I want to be grossed out. It has been a long time since So Shady has been grossed out in a video game, almost since that first Mortal Kombat fatality.
You're going to get it now.
I think so. I think so. There's a chance, but like I said, with Mortal Kombat, it's so expected and so in your face at all times that I just love it. It doesn't gross me out. It excites me. So I'm excited to see all these different fatalities. They got ones from the past, new ones. Like each character is gonna have like a dozen fatalities.
Yeah, it's great.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's so good. So
variety
I'm
is,
excited.
is the spice of life, and it's
That's
going to
right.
be a big deal for Mortal Kombat. Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this Mortal Kombat. And again, it's funny because you said you don't really like spooky or grossed out things, and we're talking
Oh
about
no, I am perfectly fine with gore.
Oh, good.
I just don't
Good
want
to
to be
hear.
scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Listen, this trailer, it some trailers show you a game and it doesn't tell you a story. You actually made mention of that with Borderlands 3's trailer, right? You said it didn't tell me a story. I don't know what's going on, but it did show some cool stuff. Whereas the trailers for Mortal Kombat 11, every time that they release one, more specifically the one with the old versus the new, is telling a story saying, okay, besides you being able to rip someone's eyeball out and use it as a ping pong ball, you can also get a story here. What were your takeaways from the newest trailer?
I mean, I've loved every trailer, honestly, everyone that I've seen. I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I probably actually like the movies more than I really like the games a lot. I don't know. There was one game that came out on the PlayStation 2 and you could actually like move around and it was more like an RPG. I think you could create your own character as well. Really like that game. But since E3, since I watched E3 last year, and I think that's whenever the very first trailer popped out for Mortal Kombat 11, I've been somewhat fascinated. I've been keeping my eye on it. And this recent trailer, I love it. I love the old versus new, all of like the little lines that they say back to each other, and it's just awesome, I'm definitely gonna buy it. I mean, I'm definitely gonna try to get it on launch. I am super excited about it. I love the gore. I mean, it's disturbing, but it's disturbing in a good way.
You kind of want to close your eyes, but you want to peek through your fingers when you see it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, like Mortal Kombat's gore has never actually like turned my stomach or made me feel queasy or anything like that. Honestly, the last time that happened, I was actually playing a game. I think it's called The Bunker, and it's like a live action.
Yes.
It's like an FMV game, and like the guy breaks his arm and his bone's sticking out of his hand, and he's trying to fix it up and patch it up. But now I got queasy at that. But like Mortal Kombat, no, it's perfectly fine. I love it. I love it.
Well, listen, it looks like it's going to be a big winner. It looks like it's going to be a big seller. There's no doubt about it. But we're coming up on the 2 hours, and we have two topics left, and they're good ones. So I kind of want to try to push through them, but still have a good time with them. The next topic, 2019 is looking really good for ID Software and the fans of their titles. We're getting Doom Eternal, though we don't know when it is. I think it's going to be a fall game. Again, one of those titles that has the prowess to stand up against the Call of Duties and whatever else. It's a big title. The last Doom was amazing, so this one is going to be, I think, just as good. But more specifically, a new trailer was released for Wolfenstein Youngblood, and that is set to release relatively soon. I just pre-ordered on Xbox One. I cannot wait. The new entry of the Wolfenstein series will not have players playing BJ Blazkowicz, as he's gone missing, according to the trailer, though his two twin daughters are the new protagonists. And that's what makes this Castle Wolfenstein so much different than all of the previous titles. Because guess what, folks? You can play the entire game co-op. Yes. That's right. 2-player co-op through the entire game, start to finish. And holy F, because I won't curse, it looked completely awesome. I mean, the gore. We want to talk about that's why I followed this up from the Mortal Kombat. Pieces of head, fingers, bodies exploding, clouds of blood all over the place. Oh, look, all I know is this. It looked amazing. This trailer completely sold me. The minute it went up on Xbox Live, I bought the deluxe edition, which is only $40, and the game itself is only $30. What? So yes, $30 for the game, and it's $40 for the deluxe edition right now. which again, come on, from what we saw in that trailer, sign me the F up. But you know what? It takes place in the 80s. BJ Blazkowicz is missing, and his last known whereabouts is in the Nazi-occupied Paris, where his 2 daughters are going to try and find him. Panel, listen, Castle Wolfenstein Youngblood is going to be launching for basically everything. The PC, the PS4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, July 26th. My question to you to start it off, Noof, are you a fan of Castle Wolfenstein's first-person madness, and is this something you you might consider buying now that it gives the option to play as single player, as always, AI-controlled character, or play co-op?
Man, oh man, I'm starting to sound like a yes man today because the first question I always lead off is yeah, super excited. And well, yes, I am super excited. Sorry to disappoint all you guys. We know BJ's in this one. We got 2 sets of boobs ready to launch some tubes. I am super excited, man. It is Wolfenstein, but it's got some badass lead characters coming in on the search for their old man. They got some big weapons, nastier kills, and I just love that franchise. It's just amazing what id Software has done with that graphics engine and how they keep pushing the envelope and the cool weaponry that has always been associated with the Wolfenstein franchise. So yeah, man, at that value, like I said, it's more of a DLC maybe than a full-on fledged game.
Could be.
But
could be a smaller title.
A little smaller, maybe a little shorter, a little more focused, and maybe a little bit faster paced, action oriented, if that's even possible. But man, look, you had me at co-op and Wolfenstein. It's like a match made in heaven. It's like peanut butter and jelly, baby. I can't wait to put this one together and chow down. It's going to be a good one. Mark your calendars. Go out and pick up the damn game. Stop waiting for Game Pass. Everything, people, just go get it because it's awesome. These guys put a lot of love and attention in their games, and they deserve it. So go play it. And if you haven't played the other Wolfenstein games, get your ass to it. Go back and play those games. They're amazing. Lots of action, great story, weird characters. The list goes on. I'll keep it short. I'll end it there. But yes, it's a day one for me as well, if my wallet can handle it.
I know it's just outrageous. The 2019 is shaping up to be, and I say this every year, but I think this year the games have been out and it's just the abundance of good to great games in 2019 looks to continue, Shady, with Wolfenstein with his 2 daughters as the protagonists. We just talked about gore. The trailer showed tons of buckets of blood, and it looks to be, like Noof was saying, fast-paced, big guns, action. It looks like it's also going to tell an awesome story because we get to find out about his twin daughters and what happened with the mom and what happened with the dad that he went missing. And it looks like it's going to be another winner. But the $30 price point, may not be as big, but it looks like to be as good as the other Wolfensteins before it. What were your takeaways from the trailer?
The trailer was awesome. I like the really dark sense of humor that this new Wolfenstein New Order kind of has, especially the sequel, New Order 2. They're amazing. I'm going to go with the most German I can. The Wolfenstein is huge for me. Oh my God. First-person shooters are like my number one, man. And Wolfenstein was the number one first game that did it. I can play that back in the day on my PC, a rig at the time, mind you. It was a rig, baby. And we had no sound blaster. It wasn't a thing. Your computer tower just screeched and whatnot at you. I don't know what was making those noises inside the thing, but it was ear. It was so good. And I played that with my buddy non-stop. And then when Doom came out, our minds were blown. But that's what started it all for me, was Wolfenstein. As far as first-person shooters goes, man, I have put a lot of different types of enemies down in my gaming career, but nothing, and I mean nothing, feels as good as killing Nazis. Nothing. It's just so good. That group of people did a fine job of villainizing themselves for all time, and we're willing to run with it, baby. Nothing feels as good as putting those bastards in the dirt. I love it, man. From their Hugo Boss created uniforms looking good, you just drop them, and it's great. And as a society, again, we're totally cool with killing Nazis, so the violence is allowed to come out and play, which I love it. You're blowing these dudes' legs off, arms off, heads off. The entire guts are spilling out. It's good. You're getting up there, stabbing them with the knife. some savagery happening. And this is kind of like an alternative history, of course. The Nazis won and they ruled the world, man. It's kind of one of the hugest what-if scenarios throughout history, especially somewhat modern history, is could have been like, my God, if only a few things went differently, it would have been a different place. So I think it's kind of neat. I'm a big, I don't want to say fan because, my God, I'm not, but like I watch and I'm interested a lot in World War II documentaries and what the Nazis were doing, man, because it was crazy. It was just unlike anything else that we've seen or heard of. Crazy stuff. So to see them really run with like some of the zombie this and reanimating things, alien stuff, like really diving deep into the conspiracy theories out there. I love that kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah, man, I like it. And of course, they're the enemy, so I got to put them down, which feels damn good. I'm excited for this cooperative. You cannot do wrong with cooperative in games. Oh, baby, can I not wait to get in cooperative. Also with this game, when you buy it, your friends can play with you without having to buy it. I don't know if you just have one code to give out that they can play, or if it works similar to that EA Buddy jailbreak game, A Way Out, where anyone could download it and load the game, but you couldn't get past the menu without being invited to the game by someone who did own it. So if it works like that, that's awesome.
Yeah,
one guy can buy it.
I think that's the way that was described. It is going to work. You can invite someone that doesn't have the game, which is freaking awesome.
It's really cool. You get technically, like, use us as an example. We'd be able to play with some followers and stuff without them having to own the title. I think that's really neat. And I love cooperative. I can't wait to get in there. I hope Doom follows suit on the cooperative. I want 4-player. Upwards of 4-player, let's say, all optional, of course. You can still play these games single player, everybody. So, you know, it doesn't have to be co-op, but I'm really excited for this. I love Wolfenstein. It's fast, it's furious, it's in your face and unapologetic. I love it, and I love killing the Nazis.
Yeah, well, listen, it looks like it's going to be another winner. So maybe it's a smaller title. I can take that. It looked amazing. Zemi, this game looks to up the ante in not only gore, but graphics. And coming in at $30 and $40 respectively for the standard and deluxe edition, I think is a fantastic power price. It's coming out in July, where games are usually, you know, there's a lull for the summer of games. And it's going to tell another story. It's a new original story. Adding co-op is really going to, you know, again, up the ante in its value, especially if you enjoy co-op, you know, games. What were your takeaways from the trailer? And is this something else you can see yourself picking up?
You know, actually, I didn't actually watch the trailer. There's so much going on. But I do like Wolfenstein. The very first game I actually played, and it was actually the last game I played, was Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Nice, good. That's
and I wanted to continue on with the series, but it's, you know, things pop up and you get distracted with other things. But I'm definitely going to have to push through, find some time so I can get through all the games that, you know, that have here recently came out, so I can play this new game whenever it, you know, releases in July. I'm super pumped for it. You know, one of my favorite things from Wolfenstein New Order is whenever you're at that mission, I don't really exactly remember how it happens, but that old Nazi lady gets half of her face blown off.
Oh yeah,
she has like tooth
her jaw's hanging out.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, from what you guys are talking about, you know, having watched the trailer, there's a lot more of the, you know, the nasty gore to it, which sounds absolutely amazing to me. I also love how they're adding in the co-op dynamic. I really like that, and I like the way that they're pushing the story as well. Whereas you're not playing as BJ anymore, you're playing as his $2, which I think is going to add a really fun dynamic to that game. And you know, I just wish, you know, a lot more single player shooters would add co-op to their games.
Yeah,
because,
I agree. Yes.
You know, I mean, there's just so many of them that are just single player, and it would just be such a better experience if you just allowed one of your friends to come in. But ultimately, I'm super pumped for this game. I can't wait, and I need to like blow through, you know, all the games in the middle, so I'm not lost.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, listen, you have plenty of time. We're still not even into April, so if you put some time into it, they're not really long games, especially if you're not looking for
Mhm.
secrets and stuff. You could plow through them and enjoy it and be ready for the newest addition to the franchise, which I think is going to be great. But we are at the 2 hour mark. This next topic isn't going to be a big one, but it's a good one. If you guys don't mind, a few more minutes on the panel, we'll talk about it. The hot take rumor: Resident Evil 3, the remake, which has my hair standing on edge. We're talking about the possibility of it releasing as soon as January 2020. Now,
Ooh.
there's some also concerning information behind this rumor. I pulled the story from GameRant.com, and prior to Resident Evil 7's launch, a Twitter user known as Dusk Golem, the aesthetic gamer on Twitter, leaked a lot of information about the game that turned out to be 100% accurate. Now, Dust Golem is at it again, leaking information about the unannounced Resident Evil 3 Nemesis remake, which is apparently going to launch a lot sooner than anticipated. According to Dusk Golem, Resident Evil 3 Remake is going to, of course, like I said, release in January of 2020. Here's the thing. Capcom has been there's been rumors that Capcom will unofficially be annualizing the Resident Evil franchise in remakes, meaning that I can see us getting a Code Veronica remake, sign me up, a Resident Evil 4 remake, sign me up, and everything in between. As long as they look like Resident Evil 2, sign me the F up. But here's the thing. This is where it gets a little sketchy, and it doesn't matter to me as long as, again, they use the RE engine from Resident 2. I don't care who's developing it. According to Dusk Golem's source, Resident Evil 3's remake is not being developed at Capcom. Instead, the company has decided to outsource RE3's development to a third-party studio. And while who the developer is unknown at this time, Dusk Golem stopped short of revealing that studio behind the remake. So they do know who it is, but apparently he's not saying. Now, here's my question to the panel. Hearing that Resident Evil 3 is being outsourced to another developer while the Resident Evil 2 team is hard at work on another apparently original Resident Evil title, are you concerned that it might not be as polished as RE2? Well, I want to go to you, Noof, on this. Resident Evil 2 is a masterpiece. Right now, as it stands, it's my game of the year 2019. Are you concerned, or do you think that Capcom just knows what they're doing?
Well, first of all, I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan, so this is one that I could really care less on. This news doesn't move my needle at all. But look, as long as the engine is there, which they've proven that the RE engine is fantastic, it worked out really well for Resident Evil 2, obviously. They nail the controls. The stories are already in place, right? And that's usually the hardest thing with any video game, is coming up with a compelling story and doing it right. So if you got the story, you got the graphics engine, and you nail the controls, the rest is pretty much common fodder. So I don't think, if this was a new Resident Evil game, I would only trust my biggest and brightest working on it. But, as far as remakes go, I think they'll follow the template set by Resident Evil 2. The tools are in place. It just, again, it's kind of hard to botch up something that's already fairly polished. So I think they just got to, stay the course and not do anything drastic or trying to put too much of their own vision or spin on a particular game. Just like I said, the controls solid, keep the foundations intact. Obviously, the big advantage for Resident Evil 2 was improving the free-flowing camera, that sort of stuff. So I think it'll be just fine. Nothing to really worry about for people, and it'll probably be another damn solid, remake of a classic game.
Yeah, well, I agree. Shady, I want to get your opinion on this. I know that you, of course, are a horror fan. I don't know how much you enjoyed Resident 2, if you enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I said, I beat it 4 times. I'm going to beat it again. I could not stop playing it. It's one of my favorite games of all time, the original Resident 2, and now the new Resident 2 has moved in its place because of how incredible it looked, how different it was, but the same from the original. What are your takeaways on us getting Resident 3 so quickly, and if they use the proven RE engine as well as the structure of 2? Are you concerned that 3 may not be up to par?
No, I think Capcom is going to have some pretty serious oversight as to the quality on this game. I think that the other studio, this is a good way for them to prove themselves. You do it good. This is a nice resume builder for that studio.
Yes.
Like Noof said, the engine is there. A lot of the work is kind of done. The backbone, the control, stuff like that. So they just have to build the game, which already is out there. They're just telling it in what I'm assuming to be a slightly altered way, similar to what this last Resident Evil 2 remake has done so well, in my opinion, as well. And as long as the quality is there, I don't care who's actually doing the coding and stuff like that. It doesn't bother me that it's another studio. I think that this is the standard that has been set for this Resident Evil remake, was the last one, and it will continue going forward. Resident Evil 3 wasn't my favorite in the series, but I still enjoyed it, and I would love to see what they're able to do with this new engine and way of playing Resident Evil, because it just plays so much better than the old games ever did. Oh my God. Such a different experience and an improved experience in my mind. So I'm excited for it. And early. I don't have to wait forever for these things. They're putting them out in a fashion that is digestible enough. If you're not into the remakes, you just wait every other year or whatnot for the new games. And if you're into the remakes, then it's only a year in between. I think that's a nice thing to see. They're going to have a lot of success with this. That's a beloved franchise, and something that, because it's so well done with the upgrade, I think a lot of people are going to check it out as well. And remember, Nemesis, man, he was like the original Mr. X.
Yes, he was vicious.
A lot of people have problems with that dude in this remake, man, chasing you around when you're trying to solve your puzzles. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I think it's going to be really impressive, certainly impressive looking. And yeah, man, it's coming soon by the rumor. That's a nice thing as well. The fans are rabid for this type of thing. I can't get enough killing zombies either. Right up there with my Nazis, man.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Now, Zemi, I did not realize that you weren't a big horror dude. So I don't know how you're going to answer this, but Resident Evil 2, obviously, Capcom has once again proven, if anything, in the last couple of years, that they're back. In a big way. They are developing the way that they used to back in the early days of the PlayStation and, of course, the NES days, where they were just putting out hit after hit after hit. It started with Resident 7, then it went to Monster Hunter Worlds, then we get Resident 2, we get Devil May Cry 5, and now it appears that we're going to be getting a Resident Evil 3 remake, and Nemesis is one of my favorite bad guys of all time for the Resident series. Are you concerned as a gamer that because Capcom, the team that did Resident 2, is off doing something Resident Evil related, they're just not willing to say what it is right now, which is probably Resident Evil 8? If I'm thinking outside the box, are you concerned that Resident 3, the remake done by a developer that they trust, may not be up to par?
Yeah, so I like Resident Evil, funny enough. I only play the Resident Evils that are co-op, though, because I do need that moral support.
That's great. I love it.
So Resident Evil 3, as far as I know, it's not co-op, right?
No.
I'm not going to play it. I'll just be honest. I can't play it. It's a real problem, let me tell you. But with that being said, I kind of think it's a mistake for Capcom to be outsourcing this to a different studio. Just because, the Resident Evil fans are ravenous, like they know what they like, they know what they want. And I just don't think it's necessarily worth the risk for having having an outside studio do this, because we have seen multiple times that outsourcing a project isn't really the greatest thing, and then either the developer releases a crappy product, or the developer ends up booting them and having to fix it themselves. So I think in the long run, it would probably be the best option for Capcom to hold off on Resident Evil RE3 the remake, or hold off on whatever project they're doing right now and just get one of them done. Even if it makes us have to wait longer for a newer Resident Evil game, I would personally, as a gamer, rather wait and have something of quality than not have to wait and then take the risk that it's not going to be as good as what the second one is. But hopefully Capcom's a smart company. Hopefully they found a studio that is actually passionate about the Resident Evil franchise,
Right,
and aren't doing it just solely for a paycheck. If the rumors are true, hopefully this studio actually cares about Resident Evil. Hopefully they're actual fans of the game and they want to do good by the series.
yeah. I mean, look, I mean, when you think about this, you immediately think to the Batman games, right? You had the 3 Arkham games, and then you had that other Batman game, which, by the way, the other Batman game I absolutely loved so much, so better than some of the Arkham games. Oh, by the way, which was done by WB Montreal. And they knocked it out of the park. Yeah, because everyone shitted on the game because it wasn't rock steady. And I get it. But at the same time, they just really did that game justice. And I think whoever Capcom entrusts with this franchise, they just got Resident Evil back. Right, 6 was a disaster. 7 reinvigorated the series. 2 is a masterpiece on its own. So I can see 3. There's going to be somebody from there, but I think whoever the Capcom is going to put on this task is going to be someone they trust. But listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't say this very often, but I'm going to say it right effing now. This was one of the best shows I think I've ever done on Breakfast with Boom. Not only did we get every topic, not only did we have over 150 people watching live, which is freaking bananas, but every topic, in my opinion, was a banger. This show, please, all I ask is 2 things before you get out of here. Hit the like button because it does really help the channel. It gets me in an algorithm so more people could, find the show. And please, if you don't mind, retweet it, send it out there on Twitter, on social media. Let people know that Breakfast with Boom is a show that isn't regurgitated shit. It's new topics. It's topics that no one is talking about. And of course, the panel is what people come here to see and hear, because everyone on this panel is a rock star, in my opinion. So let's get you out of here. Noof, first of all, congratulations on the absolute stunning hit gaming, the night show that you have with Primal, who is a perfect partner for what you guys do. It's not a nasty show where you can listen to it. It's an adult show where you throw some, F-bombs occasionally and some nasty, stuff in there, but it's not to the point where it's X-rated. It is done with class. It is done with respect to whoever's listening. Once again, congratulations on the success. I see the show becoming bigger and bigger, and of course, tell everyone where they can watch this show. Tune into your YouTube channel and follow you on Twitter.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for the kind words, Boom. I really appreciate the support that's been shown by, many people in the community coming out and checking out that show with me and Primal, because we're having an absolute blast. And I think, anytime you're doing a podcast and you're having fun, it often shows. It shows that you're just a bit, it's more than just talking games. You're really enjoying it, and you're enjoying the interaction between panels. And that's what makes some podcasts work, and what makes other ones fail is sometimes how well the host runs a show and how well the podcast panel gels together, in a variety of different views and voices and opinions. But we're having a blast, me and Primal. I can't wait till we get to the actual magic number of 69 viewers. We'll have to throw a party. It'll be great.
I love it.
It's fun humor, like you said. We keep it. It's still pretty much gaming, a little bit of movies. We have some like weird, quirky questions and stuff, like farting on the first dates and things like that. But nothing too crazy. You might have to tone down the speakers a little bit if the kids are in the house, but otherwise it's pretty good. Thanks again for having me on this particular panel this morning. I'm always excited when I get that invite. Schedules don't work out sometimes, but some days I have to go to work today after this, but luckily I had enough time to get on. Glad that you added 2 awesome new members from the community to this one with Zemi and So Shady. I think that's going to be great for you guys moving forward. Like lots of viewers here today. The chat was amazing. You always have a great chat as well. Kudos to them. You guys know where to find me. Always in the gutter. Boom, boom, kaboom. It's new for leaving the room. Check out my YouTube channel. And mostly if you stay in touch with me on Twitter, you'll basically keep up to date with just about everything I'm doing or saying or putting my foot in my mouth kind of thing.
Oh, nice. Well, listen, you do a good job. You're a community leader, in my opinion. You're always out there dealing, working with the community, talking with the community, and that's incredible. So Shady, more congratulations to you, first of all, for being on this panel. I appreciate you accepting the offer, more specifically, becoming a panel member on the Xbox Nation, another really big show with hundreds and hundreds of people that watch live. A great panel over there. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter and listen to you more specifically on your new shows. Oh, he's on mute. Okay. Well, we'll get back to him. Shady, you're
brutal. My bad. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I don't do that too often, but I've got a bit of a bad cough going on here, and I don't like to bust that stuff out. So my bad. Thanks for having me, Boom. I love coming here every Friday morning, man. It's early in the time zone I'm in, but it's worth every single bit of the morning grumpiness that I go through to get up and go for the show, man. It is. I love it. You have an absolutely fantastic community that you've built here, man. I am so honored to be a part of it each and every week. Thank you again for bringing me onto the show. I'm also on Xbox Nation every Wednesday now, which is totally cool, man. I love it. That's the first podcast I heard in this community before I even knew people were doing this type of thing. So to be a part of that now is really cool for me. On Twitter, I am So Shady at the Sesh Empire. That is one word, man. We like to cut it up, have a good time, tell some jokes, mostly video games, almost all video games, I'm not going to lie. And on Xbox, I am So Shady. Send me a message, introduce yourself. Maybe we'll play some games sometimes. I can't make any promises, of course, but you never know. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. I hope to see you guys again next week. Oh, and later on tonight, actually, I will be on GRG with K-Mega and his crew. So that's really cool, man. My second appearance over there. They're a bunch of positive dudes as well, and girls, positive crew. And I look forward to it. So hopefully, if you guys have some spare time tonight, you'll come and say hi over there as well. Thanks, everyone. Take it easy.
Nice. And of course, our newest member who I talked with last week and sent the offer to him. He agreed to be on each and every week. Zemi, you are a community leader. You love this community. You work with them closely. Your YouTube channel is fantastic. Just short of 10,000 subs, which is bananas, dude. Last week you had a charity stream for an amazing cause. You did pretty good. A lot of people tuned in, donated, played some games, played some Sea of Thieves, got killed by some scumbags who like shooting people in the back, which has happened to me and you. But we'll save that for another time. Again, welcome to the show. Welcome to this, the Double Barrel Gaming community. And please tell everyone where they can help push you over that 10,000 sub mark. And more importantly, follow what you're doing on the Twitter community.
Well, first off, thank you so much, Boom, for actually, throwing me the invite and allowing me to come on the show every single week as a regular panel member. And then, of course, thank you to the, all of you in the panel for, just sitting with us here for 2 hours and having a great conversation about a ton of different gaming news. It was a super fun time. If you guys do want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at Ambassador Zimi. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, you can also follow me using the name Ambassador Zimi as well. And then, that's pretty much all I have to say. So,
well, listen, again, you bring a lot to the table. Again, I appreciate you being on the panel on a regular basis. Everyone's information is in the show notes. All you have to do is click the link, subscribe, follow on Twitter. Once again, I have to say a big thank you to the outrageous super chats that I got today. The generosity of this community is nothing short of breathtaking. The chat, once again, was amazing. A big shout out to Lethal Papa and UK Dazarus and the Indie Gamer for policing it and keeping it fair and nice and exiting all the trolls that come to try and ruin it. It didn't look like we had any today. And of course, my panel. Thank you so much for spending a few extra minutes past our usual 2-hour time to get that last topic in there. I want to wish everyone a great weekend of gaming. Hang out, have fun, be nice with one another, and I will see everyone on the next week's episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care, everyone. Have an awesome day.